course, those of you that aren't familiar, Greg Raymer's nickname is Fossilman because if we can, that little disc right there, he uses a fossil to protect his cards, like kind of a petrified rock, kind of a, you know, it's a great, looks like a shell or some sort, fossil, and he puts it over his cards. It's a great card protector, we said, and that's how the name came when he was using that to protect his cards. People started calling him Fossilman.
Sorry, guys, I didn't mean to break your expensive glass. Looks like a real pain in the ass to get out and replace.
I know it's one of the spectators had an autographed fossil that was given to him by Craig. Makes it 25.
Looks like he's going to get a call. Pot size is $50 right now.
Pocket Jacks in seat 7. I don't know what seat number 4 has.
So we're looking at Pocket Jacks against
we don't know. He's
mystery hand.
And seat 4 is not showing his cards.
Pocket Jacks has the Jack of Hearts. And seat 4's got a king. He's going to take the pot down.
Pretty much always on the road now? 3/4 of the time.
Of course, Denny, the show is always live, unscripted, real streaming,
unedited, unrehearsed. Definitely.
Bear with us sometimes if we might miss, you know, a called gut shot straight draw. People have to understand that we're in here for 4 hours. And in a small room, it gets kind of warm in here sometimes. We do the best that we can.
80 tables in the poker room, but it's the biggest casino. Right.
Thank you very much.
I mean, it's really more like 6 or 7 casinos all in one contiguous sprawling building.
Looks like Mo's got an ace-9 offsuit that he's going to bring the hand in for 30. Of course, Mo, a very, very, very tight player.
There are a lot of aces out there. Ace-7 in seat 4, ace-deuce, seat 5. Only one ace left. Three-way action. 3 jacks. I mean, 3 clubs.
Now, seat 5 has got the ace of clubs in his hand.
And seat 9 also has a club, a 9 of clubs.
9 of clubs in his hand. And still looks like it's going to be checked around here. Or Mike is going to, he's going to check. Button's going to bet, and he's going to call.
So it's the ace of clubs against ace-7.
And look at this. Ace-7 is just going to bet pretty much in a stone cold bluff here. Doesn't have anything. He's got an ace high. And ace high is going to be good. Mike called him with ace high, but of course the kicker is going to play there, Denny, and ace-7 is going to take the pot down.
So much of a pot. Or maybe not.
Mike might have thought that seat 4 was betting on a busted flush draw, although usually you're not going to bet unless you have the ace or the king in your hand, so I might have laid that one down in the river because the king came, so I'm thinking he might have paired up his kings, his king of clubs, but he called and lost the pot. But look at this. Mo's coming with the live straddle, Denny, trying to add a little bit of action there to the game. Mo, of course, in seat 9.
With his 6-4 offsuit. Seat 2's got an ace-4. 10-5 for seat 3. And the rest of the hands are on the screen.
50.
Seat 3 picks up the flush draw.
Mo's got a pair of 6s here. And he's already folded. Raymer's calling with ace-4 here, looks like. Oh, no, Raymer got out of the pot. Mike is betting in here with ace-3, but he does have the ace of diamonds now. And look at this. Seat 3's coming over the top. He's made his flush on the turn. And this is going to be difficult for Mike to call here. He's going to see if we can see how much money he's going over the top here. See what the dealer says here. Looks like about $210. Pot's about $200.
He laid it down.
So he didn't have the correct odds there to call. He's drawing to, even if he doesn't think the guy has diamonds, he's only drawing to about 9 outs there on the river. And pot was only $200 and the bet was $200. So he's not going to call with his ace diamond flush draw.
Players coming up next week, March 3rd through the 28th. It's our 16th annual Winning of the Green tournament. We'll be featuring all types of games, all different limits, from $100 buy-ins all the way up to a $2,500 championship. There's also $50,000 added for a best all-around points playoff. You can check the schedule right online at thebike.com. Raise it up to $30, seat 1.
Looks like he's got a 4-6 suited, Denny. 4-6 of diamonds.
Yeah. Greg calls in seat 2 with 7-8 off.
Heavy.
Look at this. Mike's going to come over the top.
Seat 4 makes it $80 with pocket deuces.
Seat 4 is coming over the top for 80 with pocket deuces.
Seat 5 called with a Queen 4 of hearts.
Ooh. Loose action here. Pretty big pot.
And Mo has a Jack 8 offsuit. So Mo has an ace.
Deuce.
Check.
200.
Nobody has anything.
And seat 1 is betting at flush draw. He's got 4-6 of diamonds here. Powerful semi-bluff. 200 into about a $250 pot, I believe. And he's going to take the entire pot down with his 4-6 diamonds flush draw.
What was it? Jack flush. I got it. I won.
Good example of what we call a semi-bluff, where you're trying to win the hand right there, but even if you do get a caller, you have a chance to make the best hand. You see that with straight draws, open-ended straight draws, gut shot straight draws, flush draws. Powerful move in Texas Hold'em, and in any game in poker for that matter.
Live at the Bike, our newest promotion, play for a seat at our World Poker Tour Legends of Poker Championship. There's a link right to your right. Click on it and get started. It's always nice to win a seat for free.
Fossilman's live straddling again. He's under the gun.
Fossilman. Yeah. We should get him a shirt that has a big F on it. Fossilman.
120.
Look at this. Mo's coming over the top for 120 in seat 9. And it looks like he's got a 3-4 offsuit. Wow. Changing his play up.
I saw your card from on the table.
Raymer's got the best hand here with ace-9 offsuit.
Oh, not yet.
Of course, Mo is very, very solid, very straightforward player. I wouldn't put him on 3-4 offsuit. He's also out of position. So we're going to see 3-4 offsuit against ace-9 offsuit, and Raymer's got position. He's going to throw his glasses on. Look at Mo. He's flopped a pair. Pair of threes. Raymer doesn't have much of anything.
No, they are not big. $500 chips is coming.
I think he threw like a 250 out there.
250 into about a $250 pot. Very, very difficult for Greg to call here, and he lays it down.
I just want to show because he showed the hand.
And look
Do
at
you
this.
mind if I show the hand? Because he showed the hand, I have to show the hand.
Shows his 3-4
I don't want
offsuit
someone
there.
bluff in this table
the
more
best
than
hand.
It was the best hand,
If
yeah.
he bluffs one more, I'm going to bluff one more.
All right, we got a little war going on here between Mo and Greg.
I think Greg is going to win pretty much any time in the end when he's got about 40,000 chips on the table, and Mo only has about 2,800, I think.
I consider it a bluff when you make the bet, not when you get called.
That's what I think. But it's an alleged bluff.
Allegedly.
All right, let's have you spell allegedly. Not as fast as
Spelling bee?
You had the high pair.
Hmm?
Bluff, you had the high pair.
Yeah, I had the high pair. You're right.
Oh, was it king, queen, 3?
Yeah.
You had a monster.
I didn't know. I don't want to see the 3 there. 3 make me just not laughing.
Seat 6 has some pocket 9s.
Pocket 9s for Rick.
Okay, one time. Go ahead.
And the flop didn't help Rick, so he quickly releases his 9s.
100.
Seat 7, of course, has got top pair here with queen 8. And look at this. Mike is...
Nice. All right, I call you.
Mike is showing he's doing a little Hollywood job here, Denny, because he's got the straight with king 9, and he says, I shouldn't have called you.
And he flipped over a card.
And he flipped over a 9.
Making it look like it was an accident.
Yeah. And look at this. Oh. No, he's got the straight. Maybe he thought that seat 7 had a flush there on the turn.
Hey, if you're just joining us, welcome live at the bike. We're at the Bicycle Casino in Bell Gardens, just southeast of Los Angeles. I'm Denny Williams, the tournament director, along with Nate Hanson, Bart Hanson. I quit. That's it. I'm fired. I'm changing your name.
I always have to pause there for a second, Denny, and figure if you're trying to do it intentionally, making a joke. Or
No, I don't know why it comes out that way. I really don't. Your new name. Listen, you only answer to Nate or Bart, okay?
Okay. Fair enough.
And you can come up with a second name for me, too. It's only fair.
Sure, those 2+2ers, we can start a little contest.
Yeah. Let's see, moron or out to lunch.
60.
Raymer's going to raise out a small blind here. He's got Jack 10 offsuit. Seat 4 had limped in with 8-10 offsuit. Looks like it's going to be heads up between Jack 10 and 8-10. Greg Raymer in seat 2 and Avi in seat 4. Flop isn't really going to help anything. Looks like Raymer puts in about $100 into a $130 pot and takes the hand down.
Well, let's take a look at the table here. Eating in seat number 1 there is Damon. Greg Raymer is in seat number 2. He's the 2004 World Series of Poker champion. Seat number 3 is Steve. Abby is in seat number 4. Mike in seat 5, becoming a regular player. And that's Rick in seat number 6. Dr. BB in seat number 7. Nobody's in 8 right now, and Mo is in seat number 9. I wonder whose chips those are that are covered there.
I'm not sure.
Must be somebody they're holding the seat for.
Of course, we're familiar with Mike, Rick, and Mo. We've seen them a lot. We've actually seen seat 7 a lot, too. Dr. BB. Rick and Mo are pretty tight, solid, tight, aggressive players. So usually when they come, they have pretty good hands.
125 and Ross 5, she was furious.
He's already spending, $2,500.
And as I say that, Mo's got 4-7 suited in seat 9.
She wasn't even already spending it.
And he's going to bet $50, and he's going to get a few callers here.
Stack, it's yours. And if you lose it, it's bad.
That's right.
That's her opinion.
Flop a 6-8 ace, turn is 6. Mo's got a gut shot straight draw here.
150.
He's going to check, and Raymer's going to bet 150. Can't quite tell what Raymer has here.
I give
He's
respect.
got 2-5 offsuit. Excuse me.
I'm all in. That's not much respect. I'm sorry.
All in.
6-9 again.
And it looks like seat 4, it's going to be Greg Raymer against seat 4 all in. Of course, we're having some difficulty seeing seat 4's cards, Denny.
Because he's not
showing them. So we apologize for this. We just can't tell what he's got. And we know that Greg can't really call this from 2-5 offsuit.
I just sent Bubba out there to slap seat 4 upside the head. So
Greg's doing a little bit of an act here because he's got 5 high. Or he placed the board, actually, pair of 6s. Ace, 8, 9.
What did you say?
Oh,
he had pocket aces.
Pocket aces. Well, that would have been a nice hand to see.
Ace 7 off.
Ace 7 off.
2,700, bro. 27. Yeah, I see you had some cash there. That's a lot of money. Actually, that was bluff.
As Mo was saying, that was a bluff because he was betting 4-7 of hearts. He had a gut shot straight draw. Not much.
Therefore, 1-1-1. Nobody's 2 now.
That was a $2,000.
I know, that's a good one. That's a good one.
$500 pot. That's a lot.
In half an hour, I have to do one more bluff.
Looks like seat 1's going to call here with Queen 10 offsuit. Raymer has Ace 3 offsuit in seat 2.
Could be. For well worth.
Bubba just came back.
Seat 4 is in the hand again. We can't see his cards, though.
I told him I was going to send Bubba out there and slap seat 4 upside the head.
Look at this. Raymer's flopped aces up. There's 3 spades on the board here. No one has a spade. Seat 4 is going to call. Again, we don't know exactly what he has. He's not showing his cards. Oh, and there we go.
There we go. King Jack.
King Jack offsuit. Look at this. He's going to.
Oh, he made us 3 of a kind.
Unbelievable. He catches a king on the turn. Oh, on the river, excuse me. And Raymer had the best hand. Seat 4 needed a king to take that pot down.
Yeah, I know.
Caught it on the river.
No, you got you got the pair, but 2 overcard shows there.
So we've seen Greg Raymer lose a few hands. Catches aces up there. Gets drawn out. We saw him try to make a move with 2-5 offsuit into that pot a few hands ago. And lost to seat 4. So maybe Greg is going to go to war with seat 4 here.
Until he asked.
I didn't know. Other clubs here, I see they deal with someone in if they haven't missed a blind.
If they play time collection?
Time collection?
Yes.
I understand.
Look at this, Denny. It looks like Rick in seat 6 has got pocket queens and he's limping in. Oh, he did bring that in for a raise. Couldn't quite tell how much he raised for, but he did have pocket queens. Didn't get any action.
Yeah, okay.
Lies, father?
Just have it so that it sits under the racks, kind of sticking out the front. Then it'll be like that, and everyone will know it's there.
That's like I'm teasing.
Well, it's just that then they won't forget you back. I mean, we're playing no limit or pot limited, no limit at Foxwoods one time, and the guy has like 3 stacks of $5 chips. And I say something like, and there's like $250 in the pot, and I say, I'll just put you all in.
Oh, that's.
And then he has the stack from the back, and he's like, well, and he's like, well, I got this, right? There's the $5,000 chip at the bottom of his $300.
Oops.
And I'm like, well, no, I didn't know you had that.
That's to be in front, yeah.
Of course, the chips have to be in play and
Plain
envisioned for that exact reason that Greg Raymer was talking
I
about.
don't know. So we asked the 4 to tell us what the ruling is.
Greg got an ace 7 offsuit.
Go ahead.
Looks like got 4-way action for $20 each. So the pot's about $80 here. Jack 8-6 with 2 spades. Seat 4 is flop top pair. I don't think seat 7 is in the hand here.
Wanted him to fold. It was ruled that I bet it all.
So
It'd be like on a board like this if you flop 2 pair or something. You're like, if the guy calls, I probably have the best.
like seat 4 might have bet about $50 into that pot. Can't quite tell. Looks like 2 purple chips. We've got a call from seat 5 with Queen 7 off suit.
He threw his hand away.
10 comes. A check to Mike. Mike's gonna bet 150 with just a straight draw here, Denny. Doesn't have a complete hand.
But the bet wins him the pot.
It does. He shows a 7. He shows the queen.
1, 1, 1, 1.
And that's going to get seat 4 a little bit irritated, laying down the best hand.
What's he smiling at?
So we see seat 5 there, Mike, make a lot of moves with his position. When it's checked to him, he makes a lot of bets and uses his position nicely to win a lot of small pots.
Not yet? Is
Not
it raised
yet.
to 2?
It's coming.
Last one to 2 is a rotten egg.
What happens when you bluff and they fold? You have to show it then?
No, I've done it a couple times, but that's the first one I showed. So shown bluffs is about.
So it's a shown bluff.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we only count those shown bluffs.
25.
Thanks for the party, guys.
Raymer's going to raise. He's got big slick, it looks like. Denny,
Yeah,
ace, king,
offsuit.
offsuit. Going to get a call from Mike in seat 5. Looks like with 3-4 suited, 3-4 of hearts.
Mo's got an ace 7, seat 9.
Ace 7 offsuit.
Baby's gonna need food.
Would anyone like to sit yet?
So we got 3-way action here.
Better to have a wife who wants to get pregnant.
Raymer's going to check ace, king. Mike's got 3-4. He's got a pair with an open-ended straight draw. Mo folds, and Raymer's going to fold his ace, king. And Mike takes the pot down again.
Oh, yeah, it's on.
I had a lot. We need to hit that ace on the turn. It would have been perfect. I probably wouldn't have got much for it. I'm not going to be putting that much.
Mike says if he would have hit the ace on the turn, it would have been perfect. He would have made it straight.
Yeah.
And Raymer would have had ace, king.
Seat 4 Avi left the game. They're going to bring in a new player.
The button is not right there.
I just moved. You have the button.
I do swing under the gun. I threw it away.
Yeah, I'm the button.
Who's the button?
Yeah.
You're the button. I threw it away.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I was small.
Okay. Light ladder.
And Greg's going to live straddle again, seat 2.
I remember the button online.
Light straddle. Scarf.
Looks like C3's got an 8-10 suited. Mike and Rick are going to muck their hands. Mo's going to come in with a queen 9 offsuit.
3 play.
Raymer's got a 9-5 offsuit.
Check.
Jack 8-5.
C3's got the best hand here. Raymer's going to bet on his bottom pair. Looks like he's betting 50, Denny.
Yeah.
Pot size is about $60 now. Pot size is about $160. And Mo is going to call back on seat 9 with his gut shot straight draw. He needs a 10 to complete his hand. No help with the 4 on the turn here. $150 is the bet. Again, the pot is about $150 right now. Seat 3 has the best hand.
Well, this isn't even about playing your cards. This is about.
Look at this. He's moving all in with his second pair with an okay kicker. Maybe he senses some weakness in Raymer. Mo's going to come off of his draw. Let's see how much it's going over the top for. The pot size right now is $300, and he is going to raise, it looks like, $265 more. So Raymer needs to call an additional $115 here, Danny.
We'll take the 150 in.
I think it's about $115 more.
You already took 150 in?
Yeah, I always do it. Or 50.
It's actually a little more than that. I think it might be more like 200 for Raymer to call here. Pot size is about 500.
I didn't call already. I don't have 6-7. I still didn't call. I don't have pocket jams. You start taking off the hands that Greg can't have as he takes on. He doesn't have pocket eights. I don't want to double you up again. I might not have any outs at all. So
6-7 he had.
No, ace-8. No, I mean, Greg has
He had
ace-8.
6-7.
I only had ace-8 of hearts. I only been on a call.
And look at this. Everyone's wrong. Greg's got the bottom pair. C3's got the second pair.
Yeah.
But Greg made the right read there and laid it down. Can't really call there, I don't think, with bottom pair. There's just too many things that can beat you.
The video streams will be like DVDs for a show. I just can't imagine the amount of
We will be able to see it later.
bits and
I
bytes
just
of
go on the internet
4-hour
and
show
find
with
what
it.
people posted. I won't even have to watch. I won't have to be able to watch the video. I'll just have to.
Take license.
People will post about the hand, and Greg played this hand like this, and they'll either say I played it good or bad, and then they'll say you played your hand good or bad.
So we've seen Fossilman lose a few hands here, Denny.
You believe the hand where the guy fought
Yeah.
4 or 5 of the last hands that he's played.
or whatever it is. We'll talk about it.
Is that at thebike.com?
Ooh, pocket aces here for seat 1, it looks like.
but
Seat
then
1.
the link
Seat
is
6 is
locked
pocket.
by the bike.
No, that's Queen Jack.
Queen Jack. See what Rick does here with Queen Jack off suit. Looks like he's going to limp.
Raise it a little bit.
Right here, guys.
There we go. Raise it a little bit.
75.
75.
Raymer's got a suited connector here, 8-9 of diamonds. He might come and play here, and he does. Let's see what Rick does here with his Queen Jack. He's going to quick muck Queen
Could've
Jack off
told you
suit.
that.
So we're going to see pocket aces against 8-9 of diamonds here. Pocket ace is a huge favorite.
Can't get a pair.
Ooh, look at this. Raymer's got a flush draw, Denny.
Yeah.
In seat 1,
Flops a set.
flops a set, and Raymer's got a pair, too. A pair and a flush draw is a very strong hand. Let's see if Raymer here might raise this a little bit. Looks like the bet is about $75.
75.
You know, in Omaha, you could have ace-ace and then like 7-8.
I can't see Raymer laying this hand down. Pot size is only about
A lot of you have ace-ace.
$75, I think. So $75 into a $75 pot.
They're talking about. Let's hear.
5 of spades, and you'd be a favorite.
Make it 3.
Look at this. Raymer goes over the top.
All right, I'll raise it 325.
Seat 1 raises it to 325.
325 more.
325 more. So we're talking about a $1,000 pot right now.
All in.
And Raymer's going to
They're
go all
they're
in.
Both going all in.
It's all in.
All in with his flush draw, and seat 1 quickly calls.
You can run it 3 times for a third of the pot.
Are they going to run it 3 times, Denny? They're going to run it 3 times, like we said, the turn in the river. There's going to be 3 separate pots here.
There's the
Raymer's got
flush.
the best hand,
You win the first set.
so Raymer wins the first one. Ooh!
Wins
And
the
he's going to win the
second one.
second one. So he's won at least 2/3 of the pot here.
Wins them all? No.
No. He's got 2/3 of that whole pot there.
You give me a third of what's in front of you, and I get 2/3
9
of
diamonds.
what's
2 times.
500.
Guys. It's interesting.
Let's see how much this was here.
Sorry.
Again, the main pot size was 1,000 before these all-ins.
1,095.
And then 1,095 more.
Roughly, yeah.
365. So I get a third of the middle. I get 2/3 of the middle and 365 from you, right?
Of course, that works out, and he's taking 1/3 of seat 1's chip stack, and he's taking 2/3 of the main pot. So when they both went all in, we're talking about a $4,000 total pot. There was 1,000 already in there. Seat 1 went in for another 1,000, making it 2,000. Raymer called for another 2,000. So it's $4,000. Excuse me, $3,000. $3,000 main pot, and they ran it 3 times.
If you hit all 3.
And Raymer caught his flush twice.
Well, I was sitting there thinking, man, if a 7 comes up that
Unbelievable.
great,
Sure
that would have been straight.
Takes down 2/3 of the pot, so it's about a $2,000 win for Greg.
Oh, no, he had a 7.
What a great hand.
I don't know. I wish they wouldn't allow that. I don't like that.
Well, you know what the purpose of the rule, though, is, Denny, is that it's in these large no-limit cash games. It's people don't want to commit all their chips to a draw like that, so they think it's a little bit more fair if they chop the pot up and
In my opinion, if you don't want to play, don't play.
Well,
Can't afford to play the game, don't play the game.
well, it is a rule that's allowed. So
it turns out that, well, I have top 2 pair, but he
Takes
has
up
top
too much
7.
time.
I have second enough flush
And if they
draw.
hadn't run it 3 times, Raymer would have won the whole thing.
Sure would.
There's 3 cards that'll make me a gut shot straight without giving him a flush. And even if I hit, the other card can't be like a hard.
We got a new player in seat 4.
So I'm
His name is Alex.
far behind.
Alex from
We
Los
run it twice,
Angeles.
so I beat him both times.
Oh my God.
And the celebrity he would most like to play is Fossilman.
Really? Look at that.
Nice.
He's getting
He's
his
getting-
wish.
He's getting that one. Favorite hand is pocket 5s. See if we can deal him up a pair.
Of course, when we look at that hand, pocket aces against 8-9 suited, pocket aces is about a 90 to 91% favorite in that hand, an overpair against like those types of suited connectors. Absolutely incredible.
Like this.
Yeah,
Look at Mo, he's betting in with nothing, and Raymer's flopped top pair with a good kicker. Looks like he's going to call Mo. Mo's been playing pretty loose here so far, Denny, compared to what we normally see.
They're still running good, aren't they?
$50 is the bet. Looks like Greg calls. Can't tell if that's 50 or 200. It looks like it's a $50 bet. Ooh, and a third ace for
ace.
Greg, and let's see how he plays this. Oh, it's checked around. Gives
Oh.
Mo a free card.
Seat 4 threw away his
that was
pocket
my
4s.
second one.
And Mo says that was his
You got
second
it.
bluff. He's got 8-7. And see if Greg's going to show this ace.
That's right. You win. You win.
Well, he's showing the 10. Kind of a move out of Mendo Masters' book.
Yeah.
Showing the second card that doesn't matter. 10 high was good, though, anyways.
Yes, yes.
Hey, in our smaller no-limit games, the 100 buy-in and the 200 buy-in, we have jackpots.
Okay,
Jackpot
now I
is
have
up
to
to
add some money.
$99,000. $99,000
Yeah, I have
jackpot.
to add some money.
The way you win it is get aces full of 10s or better beaten by 4 of a kind or better. Losing hand gets 50% of the jackpot. The winner gets 25%. And all the other players who were in the hand or dealt in will split the other 25%.
That'll be the value I hope to achieve. $40 a pop on the internet.
Live straddle. Pot has been raised to 120. $120 raise.
No, you weren't. No, but one of the times before that, a couple of times you weren't.
Okay, we're heads up.
All right, seat 1 showing us an ace-jack against king 7 of spades in seat 3.
I always lose with that hand.
Jack 6-4.
Always.
Got a flush draw there. Top pair, seat 1.
Sure, the internet's going crazy.
He's going to bet, just the question is how much?
400.
$400. That's a pretty heavy bet. Seat 4 call, or 3 calls with his flush draw.
Watch your leg, Denny. Damn it. Let's get this done so I can.
All right, turn them over. You guys want to make a deal?
No deal?
There's a king. And there's the flush. Seat 3 got a flush. King high flush. See, they played it the way they're supposed to play it there. One shot.
And I'm back, Denny, and I saw that. I heard that they were seeing if they were going to make some sort of deal or something like that, but they didn't.
Nope.
And caught the flush, and let's see how much that pot was worth.
Well, they originally bet 400 and then went all in for probably 300 more. Oh, quite a bit more. I'm sorry.
King 7 of spades, of course, he had an overcard as well as one of the outs, and he caught it on the turn.
Yeah,
so,
he paired up on
yeah.
the turn, putting him in the lead anyway.
He had the flush draw. When you have a flush draw, and you also have an overcard over the, maybe what you put someone on as top pair on the board, you have additional outs. It's not just a 35% chance. Your chances are going up. It's just as opposed to just a pure flush draw, because maybe he thought his king was good too, and it was. It looks like Seat 1's exited the game there after he takes 2 beats.
I think I have 500 in my pocket here. Seat's open. Actually, I lost $100 earlier today. I had to become the live one in the game because the game was so dead.
Oh, really? Wow.
But it's okay. I had fun.
One more guy.
Look at this. Mo's got ladies.
One more guy.
Is there a 500 board?
2 queens for seat 9. Ace 9 suited in seat number 6.
And Mo raised it up, and I couldn't quite tell how much he raised it up to. Seat 3 is going to call with Queen 8 suited. Looks like $150 Mo raised with pocket queens. And Rick in seat 6, I can't see him calling $150 with the Ace 9 suited. Remember, we know how tight Rick plays. And he's going to lay it down. Looks like Rick is using fossil of his own there.
Yeah. Said, don't touch my fossil, Doc. You old fossil.
Look at this. Flop is 8-2-5, so seat 3 is flopped. Top pair.
360, Rick's 30, 390, 15, 415, 45, something like that.
Greg is saying about 415 in the pot. And he's going to check raise. I think Mo checked the button,
600.
bet, and he's going to raise it up another $600. Remember, seat 3 has top pair here. But I think this would be an easy laydown. I would definitely put Mo on an overpair if he's going to check raise me. We've seen that type of play before.
I think if the deuce of hearts was a deuce of diamonds,
it
might be a different story. But.
Much different story. Remember, a pair with a flush draw is a powerful hand. Top pair with a flush draw.
Yeah.
But I can't see him calling here.
So the question is, you think I can get lucky twice in a row?
Shows his 8. And he's going to lay it down.
Oh, he's not showing. That means it's on a bluff.
You want me to show?
If it's a bluff, if you want it to count, you got to show it.
Nobody beat me yet. Nobody beat me yet, right?
You'll have 2 bluffs. I'm not saying
No, nobody beat me yet. If someone beat me, I'm going to...
And he's not going to show his queens.
No, I don't blame him.
Sometimes we like to see Mo. We've seen it a few times over the last few weeks. When he has an overpair like that, he will check raise someone on the flop when it comes to ragged flop, and that's exactly what he did last time.
Right.
And he check raised the guy with ace-jack when he had pocket aces last week, and ace-jack came over the top of him, and he laid the hand down.
Rick laid down his ace 9 of hearts. He would have had a nice little flush draw
Yeah.
going. But you never know. If you just joined us, we're live at the Bicycle Casino in Bell Gardens, California, just southeast of Los Angeles. The live action no limit hold'em game, $500 buy-in minimum. No maximum buy-in in this game.
Pot's been raised to 25.
2004 World Series of Poker champ Greg Raymer is in seat 2.
Bringing this hand in with 5-6 suited, 5-6 of hearts.
He bought into the game with about $40,000. He wanted to cover the table.
There's not a hidden large chip under there, is there?
You know what I mean?
Oh, no, okay, over there. I feel like I'm being milked, so I'm going to throw that away.
And
Mike in seat 5.
is called with pocket threes. And this is actually almost a race situation here. 2 overs against pocket threes. Pocket threes is a slight favorite. And Raymer's going to bet $40 into this pot. And Mike's got pocket threes. And he's just going to call.
That was it. 40 was it. Go ahead.
45 and I lose you.
45 on my mark.
And he checks.
I'm going to wait till I make my flush.
Raymer has picked up a gut shot straight draw. He checks right behind. And look at that.
All right, 150.
Greg makes a straight draw, and Mike's going to bet right into him. Unbelievable. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
He should take it
Show
down.
bluff either. I was bluffing on the flop, but that was kind of the perfect turn.
I think Greg went all in right over the top there, Denny. I couldn't quite pick it up, but Mike released his hand very
No,
quickly.
he just re-raised him a little bit.
He just re-raised him a little bit, and Mike quickly released his hand. Can't really be scared. 5-6 was almost the nuts in that situation. There was no flush out there. There could have been a higher straight, but what a great catch from Greg on the river there.
Yeah, yeah.
Gut shot straight draw.
Oh, man, if you flop the set.
We've seen a lot of gut shot straight draws make it there on the river. Last night, Denny, with Jerry Boss.
Yeah.
Oof. That 8 hits on the
That was a
turn.
good game.
Unbelievable gut shot straight draws.
It makes my hand the one card that I can beat you with, and I just got there.
Of course, Greg doesn't know that Mike only held pocket threes.
If you guys end up ordering new chips someday, you definitely want to avoid these. Just this style.
One of the other things, Denny, you talked about, you don't like them running the river 3 times there with that guy with the who flopped the set of aces.
No,
he was a
really
big
don't.
favorite there, too, because even if another diamond had come, if the board had paired, he was going to win the hand. So I think I might have just taken one time there and run it one time as a big favorite with 3 aces. What?
It's hidden under all the paint.
Yeah,
It's
I
check
lost
to
it
you.
on the bike.
Look at this. Raymer's checking his ace-queen. Sneaky check. Maybe
Five-way
trying to trap
action.
someone.
Anything wrong.
9 pairs.
Did you act for it?
Rick hasn't moved yet.
He's trying to trap someone.
Got a
Denny.
quarter.
$25.
It's a small pot. It deserves a
I
small
don't see anybody going to call here.
Maybe someone will raise you.
I missed the flops open completely, but I had a virtual fold.
Showing his ace. Couldn't tell if I think Greg must have just limped in with ace-queen offsuit there and tried to trap somebody on the flop.
That was good.
9 was going to slow him down anyways. If someone made a big bet there on the turn, it would have been a little bit difficult to call just with an ace.
I'm not hungry right now, but that's normal.
It's Friday night. We're live at the Bicycle Casino. You want to come down, play some live action poker tonight? This is the place to come. We're just off the 710 freeway at Florence Avenue. All type of games. We have no limit. Limit hold'em, Omaha high-low, 7-card stud, stud high-low, blackjack, and all limits too, from $1 all the way up. Come on by the bike.
Pot's been raised to 50.
Seat 4 is showing ace jack off suit. Mo in seat 9 is a king queen off suit.
Raise was to 50. Mo's going to call. Pot size is about $100 plus the blinds.
Two
About
players.
115.
Ace 4-3.
Mo was the big blind, so the pot size is about 105.
100.
I don't think Mo's going to call
No.
for 100. That stake looked a little better than his hand did. The stakes are high. There you go. Pun intended.
An easy fold for Mo there with king queen. Part of the reason why I like king queen sometimes is that you can get away from it so easily if an ace flops. You can get involved sometimes if a king comes and you're up against ace king, or if queen comes and you're up against ace queen. But it's pretty easy to release if an ace comes and someone's raised before they flop. Uh-oh, Rick is going for his chips, Denny.
Uh-oh.
It's a rarity.
Yeah.
Pot's been raised to 30.
Jeez. Throw your hands away.
He's got 9 jack suited.
That is good.
Seat 7's got 5-6 suited diamonds, and Mo's got jack queen of diamonds. Raymer's going to
Bart, I haven't seen much action from seat 4 or 8 tonight.
No.
They seem to be the tight players tonight. Seat 6, Rick and Mo both have jacks.
Now, I've told you that Rick plays tight aggressive, which is a good way of playing. So he's going to bet his second pair. He doesn't know that he's beat, though, by Mo with the kicker. Look at that, second ace comes. Mo's going to check. See what Rick does here. $200. And look at this. He bets Mo right out of the pot,
Yeah.
Denny. Mo quickly folds.
That's his reputation.
Yeah.
Reputation won him the pot.
Tight, solid, tight, aggressive. And gets Mo to lay down the best hand there. Doesn't play scared poker, Rick. It follows through with his bets. And if he had checked, you know, maybe if he had checked the turn there, Mo would have sensed some weakness and maybe would have bet into him on the river, or definitely would have called the bet from Rick on the river there. But Rick following up the fact that he's representing an ace gets Mo to lay down the best hand.
Recently? I don't know where that is. Magic Mountain, right up to 5 at Ventura County. No, northern Los Angeles County.
Seat 7's got Queen Jack suited. Looks like he was going to limp in there. Going to see a bunch of limpers here. Five-way action, Greg says. About a $50 pot.
Ace 7-6.
Mike's got the best hand here. He flopped top pair in seat 5.
We call that a rainbow flop, all 3 different suits.
Looks like he bet about 35, 25. Looks like a nice little stack of yellows there.
So much, I'm going to look like a dork if I call.
No one really has much of anything to call him with, and he's going to pick the pot up.
Small blind, big blind, and a straddle.
You ever played against Rick before, Denny?
Not this big.
No.
Like a 3-6 or 6-12 game I played.
Again, this style of player where he doesn't play a lot of hands, but the hands that he does play, he plays very, very aggressively.
Mo picks up ace jack off suit.
75.
Raises it up to $75. Raymer had queen 10 offsuit on the button, and he folds. Excuse me, seat 3 has got queen 10 offsuit and calls.
All right, I'm going to gamble one time.
Pocket 5, seat 4, and a 4-5 in seat 5.
Look at this. Mike calls a $75 raise with 4-5 offsuit. Out of position against Mo. It's a gutsy call. I would release that hand in 2 seconds. Look at this. He picks up an open-ended straight draw.
It's not like there's going to be a lot of aces. 150.
And he's going to bet 150 into a nice little semi-bluff into his open-ended straight. Mo's going to quickly call with ace-jack with two over cards.
Seat 3's got the top pair.
Seat 3, of course, has got queen 10. This is a difficult decision for seat 3 to make. Seat 5 came out firing with a bet. You know, you might think someone might have 2 pairs, someone might have a set here, someone could have. There was no real pre-flop raise, so don't necessarily put someone on an overpair. Let's see how queen 10 ends up playing.
3-way action, so another 450 into that pot. There's a queen of hearts.
And now C3's made
got
queens,
2 pair.
Queens up, and I think we're going to see a check raise.
I think Mike's might be moving all in.
Mike's moving all in with an open-ended straight draw.
No, he's not. $200.
$200, and I think C3 might go all in. And now C3 goes all in. Queens up. Pot size is about $800 right now, Denny. I'm pretty sure, and he's going all in for an additional $800 to $900 more. It looks like.
And Mike's got about a little over 500 left. That pot's pretty huge. He might call just on
He
the
might
draw.
have the pot odds to call. We can't quite see if.
7 plus the purple.
He needs an ace or a 6.
No, he's going to lay it down.
Oh, I want to see that river card. Put that river card out. What'd you do?
Mike had 8 outs on the river to come, an ace or 6.
There it is.
An ace or a 6 would have given
3 of clubs
three
is
of
the
clubs.
river card. So
No help. An ace or a 6, of course, would have given him a straight. So he had 8 outs there on the river. Little under a 20% chance. So if the pot was laying him more than 5-1 odds, he could have called there just for pot odds.
Yeah.
We talked about that, but I don't think it was.
No, just accident.
He needed to call about 500 into a pot that might have been about 1,600, and it's not giving him the correct odds to do so.
right.
If he had to call 500 into a $4,000 pot, it would have been the correct call to make.
I don't think a 10 no kicker was the best thing.
Boy, if they don't fill that seat pretty soon.
You might take a stroll out there, Denny.
Tempted.
Four players.
Hi, Greg. How are you? I met Greg during the Legends of Poker. He came over and played a few of our events. Nice guy.
Seat 7, who had limped in under the guy with pocket 8s, actually has the best hand here. He's going to bet 75. It's about $80 into the pot. I think there was a live straddle. Not sure about if there was a live straddle there because I don't think Rick actually would live straddle, so there probably wasn't.
Heads
Seat
up.
6. Seat 3 is calls with the second
100.
pair, King 7. Gonna get a bet and a call. Button thinks he's got the best hand there, Denny, with second pair.
See,
And deuce pairs up. Let's see if this gets checked down on the river here. No?
100.
That's another 100. Possibly seat 3 might have thought that seat 7 was betting into a flush draw and might have made it there on the river. Pot's about $400 or $500 on it's 100 to call.
well, he was mucking, then he reached back for chips, and now he's thinking again.
Of course, the 9, he doesn't have the top pair, so 9 can beat him. He called on the turn.
I always like when they say, I'm going to give it to you, and muck their hand.
Well, I bet you, Denny, if that river card wasn't a diamond, if it was a deuce of spades, if it was a deuce of spades, Denny, he probably would have called an additional $100 there. But maybe he thought that seat 7, who's Dr. Beebe, was betting into a diamond draw and made it there on the river. Just too many things that could have beaten him there on the river.
Yeah.
Another deuce, the 9, diamonds. Dr. Beebe picks up a pretty nice little pot there, $300 or $400.
So why would you ever move from San Diego to Connecticut?
Because I got a good job off.
All right, Greg in C2 has 5-6 suited.
Move back to San Diego?
We've seen him play these suited connectors.
Has
So.
been raised to 45.
8-5 in seat 3, and ace queen offsuit seat 4, jack 5 offsuit in seat 5, and the only other hand I see is ace jack offsuit in seat number 9.
Bo's bringing it in for $45 with ace jack offsuit. Raymer's going to call with his suited connector, 5-6 of clubs. And the button, seat 4, actually has ace queen offsuit.
Yep.
3 players.
So we're looking at three-way action here. Pot's about $130.
Apparently it's more expensive down there than it is in like what we were just talking about.
King 4-4.
Look at this, no help for anyone.
Those areas.
100.
Mo's going to bet $100.
You know where Claremont is down there?
Bet in the pot size. It's going to be difficult for Raymer to call here. And seat 4
It's a little old house
lays the
down
best
there.
hand down.
It's probably
I think it'd be fun to do a
900
special
square feet.
live at the bike
About 800.
cash game.
900 square feet.
No chips, they play with cash.
Just cash.
Yeah, it's just right.
No coins, cash,
Cash.
bills. All bills.
South of the
Yeah.
Golden Triangle.
I think that would make a
It's
fun
unbelievable.
little
My
show.
office was in the Golden Triangle.
Of course, you have bands at 10,000 bills, 100,
I'll put that in the employee suggestion box and
Because it's
see what happens.
6:30 in the afternoon on a Friday. And I
Of course, $100 bills play at the no-limit tables,
6 o'clock.
except in the jackpot games, the 100 and 200 games. But you can use $100 bills at this table.
It's because it's so, aside from the fact.
It cost me like 25 minutes with no traffic. 25 minutes with no traffic. 3 hours and 45 minutes that day.
Raymer's bringing this pot in for $25. He's
It's
got
just convenient to
10-7 offsuit, looks like.
San Diego.
Very loose raise, and Mike calls a 6-9 of diamonds and 5. Four-way action, $100 pot.
Ace queen of spades for Rick in seat 6.
Good.
Pocket 8s in seat number 7.
He's coming.
Pocket 8s again.
Get hot.
See what pocket 8s does here. Remember, Raymer was the eraser, and he checks. And look at this, seat 5 checks his bottom pair. 7 counts.
Seat 5 has a gut shot now. Ace of 5.
Yeah, he did before, yeah. Sit wrong.
Actually, he still only has got a pair of 6s there. Doesn't quite have that gut shot.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And Raymer bets $50, it looks like, on his pair of 7s, which is the best hand right now. And actually, seat 7 calls with pocket 8s, which is the best hand. Excuse me. Pocket 8s is going to check. Raymer's going to check. And it gets checked around, and pocket 8s is going to take this down. Raymer thinks he's got the best hand, but Dr. BB's going to win it down with pocket 8s.
Thought I had the best hand.
Think about a $300 or $400 pot there.
Well, we haven't seen the doctor play too much at all tonight.
Oh, he's won a couple of nice spots there, about $1,000 with pocket 8s back to back.
Yeah.
As it turns out.
So Fossilman changing up his play a little bit, bringing in that hand for a raise with kind of 2 random cards, 10-7 offsuit.
Thank you very much, sir.
Another 7, I get paid off.
I did some chips too.
Okay. New player seat 1, 1,000 yen.
Right again.
And seat 9, 500 yen.
One, yeah.
Yeah, the pot's been raised to 25.
Greg, got that?
Greg, in your life, you ever chopped?
Looks like Raymer's picked up a pocket jacks
you
here.
ever chopped in your life? Small and big?
Oh, I would only do it in a rate game like this one, not in a time game. I haven't played rate games in so long. I don't usually.
Okay, I'm saying in your life, you ever chopped it?
Yeah.
Okay,
life, yes.
then you're chopping, right? He's chopping. He chopped it.
He didn't say he
This is funny,
he
Denny.
said he has in the past.
What's he talking about?
Let's wait to see what happens here with Mo.
Back here. I've raised it. They've all counted on it.
Are they trying to chop the blinds?
Let's hear some.
And look at he's going to call with King 7 offsuit. Mo is giving Raymer some.
Are you calling, Mo?
Yeah, you raised before the flop.
But you're short.
Raymer's got pocket jacks against Mo's King 7.
Give me 8. Give me 8 now.
We'll talk about that chop at the end of the hand here. And look at this.
Mo takes the
Mo's
lead.
got the lead with top pair. Check, check. Oh, and Mo's got the full
King's
house
full.
now. King's full of queens. And he's going to slow play and check
Now
it
you're
again.
trapping me.
Now he's got a bet.
Nothing, or you have full house. I don't know.
Of course, Mo's got the
I'm
top
gonna bet.
full house.
125.
Looks like he bets 125 into a pot that's about $75.
I was going to bet 127, but they don't allow me $7. No, thank you.
Raymer, of course, checked both streets.
I don't think he
Is
can
that
call with
corner?
two
No,
overpairs.
it's not. It's not. For the next time.
Mo, of course, has the nut hand, unless Raymer had pocket queens, and Raymer lays it down.
You said you caught me on a bluff.
And what was funny about that hand is Mo was asking Greg if he ever chopped because he brought it in for a raise and it was Mo's big blind.
Right.
And Raymer said, well, I don't usually play in rake games. I usually play in collection games, so I don't chop in collection games. I haven't played in a rake game in a long time. But yeah, I chop, he says. And then Mo's like, well, what's chop? And Greg's like, no, I brought it in for a raise here. I got pocket jacks.
He's going to say yes at some point.
Mo's quite the character, isn't he?
Yeah, go ahead and set it there if you're going to.
Greg was about a 72% favorite to win that hand.
Oh my God.
Mo only had one overcard.
Now he's going to go check my hand.
It doesn't matter.
He's coming here? Yes. Eric, do you want to come here?
You see that Raymer's got King 7 of diamonds in seat 2. We can't see what seat
You want
1's
to sit
got.
down here? I can move these chips there.
So it's seat 1 against seat 2. We can't see what seat 1 quite has.
1/4.
Raymer's going to bet the second pair with an overcard. $25 into a $40 pot.
Yeah.
And he's going to show the 7.
I thought I had the best hand. I didn't want to give you a free card.
Show 9.
7.
Thank you, sir.
If you want.
I was just saying for your
Seems like, there's a little bit of hostility between Mo and
Yeah.
Raymer. Huh?
Yeah.
He already paid his big fee.
That's what I'm saying. He can take his small blind. You want to go ahead and play your blinds there?
And seat 1 is getting up at his small blind, which is a little bit unorthodox. And he's going to get up and go. Takes his big blind, takes one hand of his big blind, and takes off.
Yeah, give me. I need the post.
Yes.
But just a small.
Maybe he thought the competition was too good.
Just small.
You paid your big. You only have to put up a small.
No, it's if you
Oh, he's moving. Excuse me. He's moving around.
If you miss one, you miss all.
Yeah. So he's going to have to post what's called dead if he wants a hand here, Denny. As Rick said, if you miss one, you miss all.
Yeah.
He missed the small blind, so he's going to have to post behind the button again.
Ah, it was $10.
85 is the bet. 85.
Pocket 10s for seat
Seat
8
8.
here.
Two bills is that?
And he raises.
But seat 7 has a 10.
Okay, that's enough.
Raymer's going to call with ace deuce suited.
No, Mo's not moving. He's just moving somebody's chips.
And seat 4 is going to pocket pair here, too. So we talk about implied odds and no limit hold'em. If he hits his set, he might be able to win a lot of money on this hand, Denny. For 3 hits here.
Yes, sir.
Flop is 9-5-2, 2 spades. Pocket 10 still has the best hand. It's an over
Good check
pair.
to you.
Seat 2.
200.
He's going to bet $200 into about a $150 pot.
Yeah.
Look at this. Raymer quickly calls with a deuce.
How you doing? Come on.
Greg's got bottom pair with an overcard. Ooh, spade comes, which might slow pocket 10s down a little bit. Maybe he thinks Fossilman's on a spade draw. He's going to check.
I'm getting up on my blind.
Greg checked to seat 8, and 8 check right behind him. Now Greg's going to bet.
500.
500. Wow.
Wow.
And he's going to call. Seat 8's going to call. Seat 8's going to take this hand down. You know, maybe Greg thought that there was some weakness when seat 8 checked behind him on the turn there.
Yeah.
Afraid of the flush. And, bet about $500 in there. And seat 8 didn't even think about the queen. Quickly called. And took down the pot.
Shoot, I'd be out the door.
Well, that would,
$500 richer.
I got to tell you, well, to make that type of call, I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to lay it down, but I'm going to definitely think about it. The overcard and a flush out there. I mean, I do have the 10 of spades in my hands, but remember, Greg had quickly called on the flop when there were 2 spades. Third spade came and he checked. So, several things could have beat pocket 10s there. But quickly called, made the right read, and took down a nice little pot, about $900.
75.
If you just joined us, we're live at the Bicycle Casino. This is a live action, no limit hold'em game, $500 minimum buy-in. 2004 World Series of Poker champ Greg Raymer is in seat number 2.
What do you need me to fill out?
30 hold'em?
75's a good price.
Maybe Greg Raymer is a bit on tilt here. Seat 8's bringing this hand in with king-queen suited. Raymer's calling with 10-7 offsuit here, Denny. He's got position in the hand. King-queen suited versus 10-7 offsuit. Look at this. No help for anyone on the flop. 2 hearts.
Yes, sir. What do you need me to fill out, Timmy?
Right here.
Seat 8 checks and Raymer checks right behind. 10 comes.
Another club. Royal flush. No, the jack of spades.
Seat 8 now has an open-ended straight draw, but Raymer has second pair here with a 10.
I'm leaving 1,000. 200,
and Raymer quickly calls the 200.
It's going to be in the rack.
Flop is about $600 right now. Greg Raymer has the best hand. Jack comes. King Queen has just got King Queen high here. Pair of jacks, the King Queen quick, King Queen 5 kicker. See if he follows up on the bet, Denny.
Well, 10s were good to him last hand.
Remember, though, he did initially check on the flop, saying that he probably doesn't have a jack. So Raymer might think that his 10's going to be the best hand here. Why wouldn't the guy bet a jack if he had it on the flop? He checked on the flop, Denny.
Purple chips.
So let's see how much he bets here.
Rack 21. I had 21 originally.
700.
700. Let's see if Raymer gives me. And he quickly calls, and what a great call. He's going to take the pot down. Pair of tens.
So he got his money back from
Yeah.
the same guy.
I
Took his money.
definitely understand Greg's thinking there. The guy's checking the flop. He would have most likely bet a jack. You can't necessarily put him on an overpair. I mean, he could have been slow playing on the flop with an overpair, maybe trying to check raise on the flop. The 10 comes and he bets. Raymer calls the second pair, and he bets 700 on the river. Raymer quickly calls. If he had an overpair, Raymer would have been beat, but he made the right read, made the correct call, and took the pot down.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he shorted me. Let's see. Is he an accountant?
Greg Raymer giving an autograph there on the back of a fossil. Rick Nebbiolo.
Right now. Live on the internet.
You ever given any autographs?
Not quite yet.
Can I get service, please?
I would be
Service
willing
on
to
4.
give an autograph, though, if someone asked me.
Oh,
for
you
my
got your
autograph.
card? I don't know if I have any points.
Somebody asked me today, and I said no, and I walked
Oh,
out.
really? You did?
Friday.
That'll be the day, Denny.
True story. Of course, they were joking. But,
Raymer's in this pot again with ace-9.
75.
Seat 8, can't
Yes,
quite
sir.
tell what he has
I
here.
need food service up here.
Betting 75.
yeah, I need food service over here too.
Seat 4's got a gut
There we
shot
go.
straight draw. He's going to lay it down.
Seat 8 is Queen 9 spades.
Okay, so he's going to fast play this. I like this. There's too many draws out there. Slow play, trip queens here.
Thank you, sir.
If he lets one take off there, maybe seat 4 gets lucky, catches a 9 and makes a straight. Although that would have filled seat 8 up, so it would have made him a full house. But I like fast playing those hands anyways, Denny. I really think it's the best way to play. 2 hearts out there, possible draws. Why not bet into it? Why give somebody a free card, which can turn into a miracle card for them?
Nice double.
Yes, Marshall. You can sit one over here. One over there.
It's got to be.
Where do you want?
Warren Karp joins the table, seat number 6. Warren's a tournament player,
25, pot's been raised.
follows the circuit.
Raymer's bringing this hand for
Re-raised
25
to
in.
75.
6-8 suited. Seat 4 is going to come right over the top of him. Re-raise to 75 with ace-jack suited.
50 to call, sir.
See if Raymer wants to gamble here with his 6-8 of diamonds.
He re-raised you.
Ace-jack suited's got position on Greg. I think he's probably going to lay it down, and he does.
If I get lucky, I don't know. Hey,
Yeah, that was it.
2 cups.
I can't play with that shitty game. If you don't have me beat right now, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. I mean, bluffing with the short stack is hard to do. So you want me to say something about that?
Warren Karp's a pretty successful tournament player.
Yeah, I
isn't
like
he,
the
Denny?
shirt he's wearing
Yeah.
too. It's
I
Legends
can get
of Poker
autograph
shirt.
from you.
Legends of Poker shirt.
You're gonna write
Of course,
it
you
down.
are the
You're
director
gonna
of that tournament.
I am the
Then everybody will
tournament
know
director.
The WPT event that happens here at the West
Actually,
Casino in August.
officially, I am titled the tournament coordinator. I don't know what the difference is really.
Is that a pretty hectic time for you in August, like 18-hour days?
No, actually, July is more. Well, yeah, they're long days, but July is more hectic.
Just the
than,
leading up,
yeah,
and planning.
preparing everything.
Yeah.
That's where all the work is. Once the tournament starts, it's pretty easy, but the hours can be long.
Pot's been raised to 60.
Looks like seat 3 is bringing this hand in for a $60 raise with ace-6 offsuit.
My kind of a hand.
He's going to take the blinds. Yeah, we've seen Greg Raymer play a lot of hands. There's a theory where if you think you're the superior player, you might lose a little bit of pre-flop equity playing some hands that are inferior to other people's hands. But if you can outplay them on the flop and beyond, it's worth it. He likes to play a lot of suited connectors, gap-suited connectors, brings those hands in for raises. And definitely has been playing very loose. He's made a few good reads, too.
Live straddle.
Live straddle.
Pot's been raised to 50.
Seat 1 is raised to 50. Can't quite see what he has in his hand. Raymer's got pocket sixes in seat 2. Looks like Mike in seat 5's got a Jack 10 suited. And Mo's going to call with Jack 4 offsuit in seat 9.
Got 5 players here.
You sounded surprised.
Check and raise.
It's not the best hand.
Maybe check and call. but
$250 pot right here.
Ace, Jack, deuce. Seat 5 and 9 both have jacks.
Mike's got 9 jacks suited, excuse me. Look at this. Mike's going to check right behind his second pair.
I bet.
7 of diamonds.
7 of diamonds.
25.
And look at this. Mo's going to fire in a bet with the second pair with a weak kicker. Mike's going to beat, but
125.
Yeah, he's going to find out.
How are you going to check raise this thing?
On the flop, I said check and raise. Nobody bet.
You still want to check raise?
Rodrigo, I need something when you're done.
I don't know. I should go after my flush.
Greg's going to lay down his pocket
I know
sixes.
exactly what I want. Tonight's Friday, so I know we got champagne, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I want to
Let's see what Mike does here with the jack. He's going to call.
It's the second time he's not sure the bluff.
Yeah.
Keep calling or raising.
Sweet, no lemon. Okay? Perfect. Thank you.
He raised it up.
230.
230 and 2.
Yeah, 430.
430?
Yes.
1, 2,
430.
I don't have it. Then take it.
Oh, look at that. Mo lays his hand
No,
down.
if I had it.
Has Mo
No,
beat.
you have it.
Picks up about a $600, $700 pot.
What move?
So only Mo knows if you were bluffing or not. You don't think you were
It wouldn't have necessarily been
No, it wasn't bluff.
I had him be wrong about my
unordinary for Mo to check an ace there in that position from early position. Maybe he was afraid of his kicker. He could have had an ace with a weak kicker, and then bet in 4th Street, but Mike didn't think so. Made the right read, came over the top, and took the hand down. Jack 9.
Oh, you change it? They change it? Of course.
Where'd it go, man? Okay, left? What do you need, man? Something to drink. A Diet Coke and a bottle of water.
Look at the food. It's flowing around that table, huh? I didn't tell you here at the bike you can get tableside food service. Not too many casinos offer that, except in the California area. I know Las Vegas you don't get tableside food service.
Tableside food service, tableside massage service.
Cocktails. Well, cocktails you get everywhere, but
Shoe shine.
that's true. Betty, the shoe shine lady, she'll come get your shoes at the table and just goes back, shine them up, and bring them back to you.
Raymer's limping again with looks like it was his favorite hand, 10-7 offsuit. He won a big pot with that about 20 minutes ago. Look at this. Mike's picked up pocket rockets, Denny, in seat 5. 2 aces, American Airlines, raising it up to 85. Don't know if he's going to get any action here.
I invested my 15. I'm watching.
Look at this. Greg's going to call with 10-7 offsuit.
You won, what, $5 million, did you?
And seat 3 is going to call with 2-8 suited. Some really, really loose play.
Obviously didn't raise enough.
And seat 4 is going to call with 4-7 offsuit.
I like this
So we're
hand.
looking at 4-way action.
Hey, I tell you, I don't like Mike's chances right now.
He's probably not. He's not favored against 4-way action with pocket aces as a collective.
Take straight.
Flop is
2,
deuce,
3,
10. Mo's picked up top pair in seat 9 there.
Mike's smart. He won't fool around here.
No.
He's not
375.
375.
He's betting the pot. The pot is about 375. Mo quickly folds 10-9.
Raymer might call him with a pair of 10s.
He's got a pair of 10s. So we're looking at a $750 pot here. 375 to call.
I can't imagine C3 calling. C4 will muck.
Boy, would this be a loose call by Fossilman here.
He's doing it.
750.
Looks like he came back over the top, Denny.
Did he?
He came back over the top. He raised again. He called the 375 and raised 375 more. Maybe possibly thinking that Mike's trying to steal here with a couple of overcards, and Mike quickly goes all in over the top. And Mike doesn't have that much more, so Raymer quickly calls. And look at this! Raymer picks up 2 pair on the turn. He's going to take the pot down. He breaks Mike. Oh, what a bad beat. And the reason why Raymer quickly called there was Mike only had an additional $300-400. The pot was already well over $1,000 there, Denny. So Raymer called with his top pair and got lucky on the turn, and Mike is...
Now, do you think he would have called if Mike had just gone all in?
If you go there for commentary, check my hand here.
I think he probably had about $1,000. I don't think he... Well, an overbet of that size, it's questionable. It's questionable. I definitely wouldn't have called. Then again, I wouldn't have called for that amount with 10-7 there either, but Raymer went right over the top of him.
Right now, he can see
That's why he's the world champion.
And he was pot committed, and he got lucky on the turn. And
Are there announcers back there?
Yeah. Every day we have different announcers.
You haven't employed me yet? Very upset.
Warren Carp. Mr. Modest. We'll bring Warren in here later.
Might be the second best announcer in the...
Oh, wait, you're pushing it, Warren. You're pushing it there.
50.
And how often have we seen on this broadcast aces lose, Denny? Isn't it unbelievable? Right. Earlier, aces lost 2 out of the 3 run pots against Fossilman's diamond draw. Greg gets lucky, picks up 2 pair on the turn there.
Oh, very true.
It depends. If there's a chipper in it, doesn't really speak English, then Warren's
Slightly.
Ace-7's got the best hand here. It's going to get checked around. Ace-10 has got a gut shot straight draw. And 10's going to have the best hand here.
You know, this would be a good place to try the
that was a great example there, Denny, on that hand of what chip size could do for you. Because if Mike had an additional $5,000-10,000 and came over the top of Raymer, Raymer's not going to call with 10-7. But because he didn't have any chips left, the odds are dictating Raymer quickly calls and gets lucky and wins the pot.
I haven't missed a flush since I put it up there.
Always an advantage if you have more chips.
Way too many is all I can tell you.
Listen, I got news for you. I made a couple errors on the flop. I went ahead to have my prescription changed because I realized that.
Serious?
Yeah, seriously. My middle vision was...
If you go to my website,
Said he had to get his glasses changed because he couldn't read the board. Made some mistakes.
Look at this. We're looking at a pre-flop all-in, which is pretty rare in this game. Can't tell how much that is. Maybe
I have a straight draw.
$95 or $100.
King, Queen of Hearts.
2, 3, 4, and a bigger card, like a jack or something.
170.
Oh, 170 pre-flop.
170.
Right.
And look at this. Mo's picked up ladies in seat 9, so he's definitely going to call here, I would think.
Yeah.
Just for 170.
Seat 7, ace, jack, king, 10, clubs.
Now look at this. Seat 7 calls. Seat 8's got king 10 of clubs. He mucks. Now I got to think that Mo's going to raise this up a bit. And he does. He's going to pop it up. No fooling around. We don't want ace jack to stay in there, Denny.
600.
He's going to raise it up to 600.
When it was a 6, he was going to call me, which is why I overbet all in.
Right.
And gets ace jack to lay it down.
And now we're sitting there for 4 minutes.
So king queen against pocket queens. And look at this. Most flopped a set of queens. And
there's a 10.
You know, look, buddy, you take
Queens
all the
up.
time you want, but I'm going to go
And 3 queens for Mo
queens
takes
up.
down the pot.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. That case queen came. And
another one.
Looks like another one bites the dust there.
Bob, I announced all in. I yelled it real loud. I thought you'd heard
And I love that re-raise by Mo there. You don't want an ace jack to stick around. Ace jack offsuit, you know, calling there. Pop it up a bit.
Yes, sirree.
Throws away a set.
So if I hadn't misread the board, I would have just folded when he bet the 10,000.
He had you on.
Hey, don't forget we got some hot tournament action coming up. Winning of the Green, March 3rd through the 28th. Click on the tournament tab and click on the Winning of the Green, and you'll see the complete schedule.
I wasn't going anywhere.
We're live at the bike in the Bicycle Casino, Bell Gardens, California, just southeast of Los
And then my
Angeles.
jack of clubs pops off on the turn, gives me a flush draw with the straight draw. I'm still not going to go.
Friday night poker.
When he bet 5,000 on the turn, and then when he bets 10,000 on the river, I thought I had the nuts.
Bart, got a seat open for you, number 4 there.
I'm all in. I got the nuts. I'm all in.
We'll get rid of the jacket.
Oh, I'm having too much fun back here with you, Denny.
I don't know. I'd like to take a shot in that game. I'd be scared as hell. I gotta be honest.
Tight, weak, tight.
Weak tight?
Weak tight.
Oh, now you call me weak. That's what I get for calling you different names all night.
Nate, there's what you get for that.
65.
Mike is betting into a total bluff here and gets seed 8 with ace 4 to lay down the best hand. Now Greg's got second pair with an overcard. Mike eggs him on, says play good this time. Raymer folds and Mike takes down the pot with a total bluff. Deuce 3 offsuit.
You know, you could have made a runner straight.
Running like that.
Of course. I'm sure that's what he was thinking.
Jack 10 on the button, flop comes 8, 9, queen. Flop the nuts. This guy bets 500 into me. I go all in. I get 2 callers. One guy has an awful hand. One guy has pocket kings. It comes king, queen. He goes runner, full house.
I can't say that I've deserved every dollar I've made at this table tonight.
As Raymer quickly points out. He's been on quite a lucky streak.
Supposed to be stuck quite a bit. I got it all in against the top set. Beat him twice when we ran 3 times.
I'm still trying to figure out whose chips are covered up there.
Yeah.
Usually means the seat was locked up for a player and they're letting someone play over his chips.
Pocket 10s for seat 7 here. Of course, Raymer's talking about he beat top set 2 out of 3 times with this flush draw when the river was run 3 times. 3 aces against this flush draw, and the flush came twice.
Right.
Mo's got a top 2 pair here,
Raise.
and he's going to raise
I
it
won't
up.
be seeing you in DeVille. I mean,
Seat 7 bets in
Monte
with
Carlo.
pocket 10s, and Mo, solid player here, is going to raise top 2 pair out, 2 clubs on the board, possible straight draw.
150
150 on top of the 35.
The Austrian
185.
So 185 to call. Pot's about $250 right now, and pocket 10s quickly folds.
Yeah, the other guy at the bottom.
And Mo's going to take the hand down.
Have you been to Atlantis, that resort? How is it?
Again, even in this game, Denny, no limit hold'em, it's even more dangerous to slow play sometimes, like a top 2 pair with 2 clubs and a possible straight draw out there. If he had just flat called and he got a couple other people from the back of him to call, a miracle card could come, and someone pushes all in, and then what do you do with 2 pair? If a 10 comes, someone could have a straight, someone could have a flush. So why?
Did you get to see the bridge?
Why slow play it?
That's right.
Raise it up, make them pay for their
The
draws.
bridge that
Yeah.
goes, that's a suite. It goes in between the,
Yeah, it's like a $25,000 a night.
a night. It's ridiculous.
5,000 square foot. Where is that?
35.
Yeah, at the Paradise Resort.
They have 2 of their towers connected by.
Looks like Mo's raising for 35 with a king 10 offsuit.
Suite or something they call it.
Seat 9 here.
Just because Michael Jordan stays there when he comes in. 35?
Yeah.
Look at this call, Denny. 4-7 suited. Raymer's got 4-7 suited.
The player is on the way. But you wanna?
No one picks up much of anything here. He's going to check.
Oh, they're giving me one.
And Raymer's going to check right behind.
No, if it bothers you there.
Deuce comes.
Check. Hold on. I'm busy.
Are you
Go ahead.
checking?
Yeah.
Yeah, look, Raymer's going to check right behind. See if someone tries to take a stab at this pot here.
125.
Mo's going to bet 125.
Just a no.
I was,
Raymer's got the best hand with a pair of 4s here, Denny.
How many times I gotta bluff you and you got me? I did.
Some consulting work for a.
I did.
Raymer's going to take it down with a pair of 4s.
For 4 months. Increase their business
Check the
close to
flop,
40%.
check the turn.
125 wasn't a big enough bet.
That wasn't a big enough bet.
Always looking for the right thing.
I did the
He
picture.
checked the turn and possibly, induced a small bluff from Mo there. Mo didn't sense any strength. whatsoever, and Raymer had a middle pair there.
Just did a poker DVD.
Took the pot down.
Tiny pair.
That was fun to do.
Tiny pair. Yeah.
We're both in.
Are you ready to come in?
There's
All right.
there's the doubters and the
Post
true
15.
believers.
All right, he's got 400.
I'm going to be picking up. We'll have a new seat in like 3 hands because I'm going to go back to the booth after the blind.
Oh, for all the
Raymer
viewers.
said he's going to be coming back. I think what I'll do, if you don't mind, when he comes in, I'll take a little break.
You got it.
Let you two chat.
Absolutely.
And then I'll make arrangements. We'll bring Warren Karp in here a little later on, too. I'll go talk to Warren.
In that case, it's 13 more.
Could be 500.
Producer's going, no! It'll be okay.
I'm waiting for him to count it, and then I'll bring in the 15.
Oh, that's all I was asking.
Yeah, no.
I didn't see it in the pot, and
No, it
I saw
wasn't.
you going for the flop. I'm sorry.
No, not at all.
Forgive me.
Seat 8's got ace-10 suited right here. He's going to flop top pair. Seat 6 has got a heart draw, 5-10 of hearts, Warren Karp.
I just found out Greg Raymer might finish the show, so he might be here a while. So maybe I can arrange for Warren to come back another night.
Oh, okay.
Take it easy.
See, I know how to do this stuff politically correct.
Now, Warren Karp has got middle pair here with the flush draw. Seat 8 has got top pair, and Karp hits his flush here on the turn. Seat 6 has got a flush. And it looks like he checked to Mike, and Mike's going to bet. And Mike hits a straight here, too, Denny. Caught his gut shot straight, so he's going to call. He's going to get 2 callers from the ace-10, and Mike has a straight with 7, 8, 9, 10, jack, but Karp's got the best hand with the flush. Let's see. And it's going to get checked around, and Karp's going to show his hearts and going to take the pot down. Wow.
Here in a flush draw, you're supposed to go all in on the flop.
If this was a tournament, I probably would have.
As Karp says, pair on a flush draw. Raymer says he should have gone all in the flop.
So Warren played that a little conservative.
He did play conservative. I mean, there was a higher flush out there. He could have been beaten by some hands, but you know, he got a extra bet out of the guy to the left of him in seat 8 too, with the ace-10. Just check call all the way down, and Mike unfortunately, you know, made a set, and Mike felt the fact that he might have been beat on the river, and he just checked it down the river, and he was beat. Saved himself money though by not betting more on the turn, probably.
You got facts? Oh, is it a Snapple thing?
Yeah. The oil in cashews helps prevent tooth decay.
Did you hear that? The oils in cashews help prevent tooth decay.
That's interesting.
Would somebody go get me some cashews,
Are you going up
please?
to the Oregon tournament?
Well, if you eat cashews all the time though, too, you're gonna put some pounds on.
I'm already out of town, like.
Very, 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 very oily, greasy nut, but
I already have plenty of those.
yeah, I was thinking about Raymer too. Looks like he's been eating a lot of cashews.
I'm the only guy that goes to the gym, signs up for 3 years, and it's there if I decide to use it.
You got a 3-year membership and you haven't used it once?
No, I've used it a few times, but not like I should be. But it's nice to know it's there. You know what I mean?
Right. It's nice to know it's there. You know, you go maybe 6, 7 times over those 3 years. It's only about $500 per session, right?
Actually, it would be. Let's see, it was about $600 for the 3 years.
So you go there 6 times. It's $100 per session.
That's great. You know, but then Poker Stars is like, well, can't we, you know, a $10,000 seat? You know,
Seat 1's limping in here with pocket 3s. Raymer's got a 6-7 offsuit.
For charity, I'll do it. Of course, I'm not as high
I
profile.
wonder where the term limping in came from. I wonder how that originated. Because you think of limping, you're thinking of someone injured and limping, right?
Well, I can give out the tape.
All right,
That
2
always
plus
adds
2. It's up to you. Give us a history. Where did the phrase "limping in" come from?
Looks like we're going to see either 5 or 6-way action for $40 each. So looking at about a $240, $250 pot right off the bat here.
If you catch something here, bet it strong and just take what's out there.
Down.
There's a
Queen 10-4,
Queen 10-4.
rainbow flop.
Seat 4.
Pair of fours does the best hand. Seat 5 here. Oh, excuse me. Seat 4 does the second pair with the 10 jack.
I think I'm only going to win with runner, so.
That's very possible.
I should raise all in.
And Mike's going to throw out a bet with his pair of fours and going to get a call from seat 4 with a pair of 10s. Check.
What do you got left? Do something?
Look at this. Mike's going to put seat 4 all in, betting on his 4, and he's going to get seat 4 to lay the best hand down. We've seen that a couple times between those two. And that's a decent-sized pot there, Denny. You're talking about winning pots, $400, $500 pot, using his position and his aggressiveness to bet.
Seat 4 didn't have that much money.
Do they notice when they're doing maintenance that... Do they notice when they're doing maintenance?
Seat 4 calls on the
People
flop.
very rarely hear it like 4 in the
And then a
morning,
blank
but lot
comes
of
on the
people
turn and he
hear it.
mucks. It's a little bit confusing. Why would he call? Maybe trying to hope a hit trips or 2 pair.
Yeah, that's right. I
but
never thought it's Friday night. Right. They're off on
that's a little
weekends.
bit of weak type play there.
Some things I just find hilarious.
Then again, he
I
didn't
don't know
have the
why,
top
but-
pair, so we can second guess all night long.
It's an emergency.
Yeah, the table's broken.
We're the ones that can
You
see
don't
the whole
understand
cards.
that the box that they put the drop in is broken.
Well,
that's a big deal.
that's as far and away the
Look at this. Seat
telltale
3's
sign
got
of it,
pocket cowboys, pocket kings. And seat 4's got pocket 10s. It's just going to flat call a raise
You're
right
very
behind
quiet.
him.
You okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He got my money.
And there's
then.
another pocket pair in
But
here,
that never
seat
stops you
6.
from talking about it.
It's got pocket 4s. Warren Carp's got pocket 4s. So if somebody hits a set here, Denny, we can see a lot of money go into this pot.
Three of either one of these.
5-way action, $20 each, about $100 pot here.
I'm listening to Warren whine.
Raymer's got the best hand here with ace
You
3.
don't know what you have?
Yeah, that's right.
No, it's TV.
C3 was the original raiser. Pocket kings, trying to decide what to do.
Talked him into a bet.
Oh man, I was going to bet that for you. I really was.
75.
75 into about $100 pot. Seat 4's got the pocket 10s.
Now I have to fold. I was going to bet it for me.
Carp folds his pocket 4s. Seat 1's got second pair here with a 7.
That was more subtle than my life.
And Raymer's going to call.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Raymer's got the best hand
Thank
here.
goodness.
Oh, that's a scary card.
Turn card comes 6 of spades. Of course, the seat 3's got another spade in his hand. Checks behind it. Raymer checks on the river. And he's going to take the pot down with ace 3.
The nut aces. Needed an ace and a 4, and anything but an ace king 4 would have been good.
He's going to be like, what's the stud player, Danny Robinson.
So figure it out.
I told Danny Robinson.
No, actually,
he over a hand.
I told my guys
like that. They write articles. I play like that. They're all young.
So sounds like from the tabletop, Greg's going to play one more round.
All right. They're dogging you.
For you guys listening
I'll
back
be
in
jumping into that
the
closet with my stinky, smelly, sweaty body.
You get me again, then I'll be kicking myself. What did I ask for?
You just tuned in live at the bike. We're at the Bicycle Casino. It's Friday night. Come on down, play some live action poker.
Small and hot.
encroaching on your area? I'm
I
sorry.
kind of wish I was out here.
You gotta be careful what they ask for, too, huh?
105.
All right, now I got to have a real hand.
I don't get many of them, so I got to play when I get a shot. I don't have a real hand. I'm already.
All in?
Seat 4 moves all in.
Seat 1 bet 105, raised to 105, and seat 4 is going to go all in for, it looks like, another 265 or so. And it's going to be a classic race situation here, Denny. Pocket 8s is in the lead by a little bit.
Take care.
Now he's a bigger favorite.
Welcome.
Ace or Queen's got to come on the river here. And
There
an
it
ace
is.
comes. Seat 1 catches it on the
Oh,
river.
and 4 spades. He doesn't even have the 8 of spades. So.
No.
Thanks, guys. That's what, the second player
Yeah.
from seat
Seat
4
4 get
already?
knocked out.
Well, if I get in that game, it won't be seat 4. I'll tell you that. Seat 3's open also. Seat 3 won a little bit, didn't he?
I know, huh?
You'll be back there before you want.
Yeah, if we're thinking the same person, I think he did. He was up a little bit.
That would be
They're going to shoot me.
that'd be really bad for the.
If they don't go ask the guys playing 300, 600, they mind moving up here.
I was petitioning to put a cap on the buy-in to make it
35.
attractive. So walking the shorts there.
The game dies. I'm here. I play heads up.
Me and Mo play heads up.
Trying to remember sequence name.
I play heads up.
Marshall, that's right. Thank you.
Don't worry. If I play heads up, I don't put 1,000. 5,000 minutes.
I really don't. Actually, I don't prefer playing. I don't like playing heads up.
No, I'm saying the break, it's not going to break. I'm going to play heads up.
Warren Karp brought this hand in with ace-9 offsuit, it looks like.
Mike in seat 5 also has an ace-9 suited.
Better than ace-8, but it was.
Looks like it was about a $40 or $50 race. We're already looking
let's
at
see. We actually have seat 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Seat 1 folded. And the flop is king 8 deuce. Is that correct?
Seat 7's got the top pair here. King Jack. As we've seen Greg play a lot of hands tonight.
Feels
5,
like
6
ace king to me.
offsuit.
You got ace king?
It's a king.
It's definitely a king. I knew that. All right, take it down.
And Karp's going to lay his ace-9 down as well.
Yeah.
What'd you show?
Seat 7's going to pick up a nice little pot, about $240, $250.
Yeah.
But it was the price right to play king 9.
When you didn't show the ace or the king, I'm thinking it's got to be king.
I feel like I'm getting drunk on this drink here.
I mean, a spot.
You didn't put any alcohol in that, did you?
Wally, nice shirt you have.
This one, let me tell you,
No, it's not.
I made a lot of money when I
Raymer signing
won
another
this
autograph
shirt. I won
there.
3 of these this year.
Is this one of
Believe it or not, I used to sign autographs.
this thing for
Really?
Yes.
late
About
night London? You started it?
in the 80s, I was a radio disc jockey, a top 40 radio station.
You know who I'm
All little teeny bops.
Ornstein.
Yeah, Orange.
Once in a while, I'd go open concerts, MC the concerts. The biggest city I worked in was Tucson, Arizona. My last gig, get this, was St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands.
Wow. That's a place to be
That
stationed,
was
huh?
fun. That was fun.
Let me see what I
That was
have.
too much
I
fun.
don't know what I have.
It was like a party every
I
day.
know what you have.
Raymer's got pocket jacks here on the button. I actually did some radio in Syracuse, New York when I was in college.
Yeah.
Big broadcasting school. We had our own.
That
You
time
know,
was
I was
125
thinking,
cost
you
me,
give
right?
these little teeny
That time I
bob
bet
girls your
125
autograph,
cost me. Okay, I'm
and they
gonna
probably
put
find it like 10 years later and said, "Who the hell is this guy?"
3 times he got me. 3 times or 2 times?
Notice you got to go through a filibuster anytime.
And look at this. Warren Copper's got the nut flush draw, and it looks like Mo put in a bet here on a total bluff with King Deuce of clubs.
I think you're already there.
That's our Mo.
And Raymer's got pocket jack, so it's going to be tough for him to. Might be tough for him to call here with an ace. He has the best hand though.
What did Mo put in there? How much is that?
Of course, overcall.
I think this is right.
And couldn't tell if Raymer there folded or if he called. He called.
I'm just looking to see
So
if I have what
Raymer's
I
in the
thought.
lead
Yeah.
here. Karp's got the diamond draw, and Mo has pretty much nothing.
Check.
I can't beat an 8. You said check.
Ooh.
I can't beat an ace.
And it's checked
Just got king
around.
high.
Jack.
And look at this.
Would have liked to have
Raymer's
seen
going to take the pot down. Wow.
it. Your call made me call. Gave me all the
What a
odds in the
call
world
there.
to call. I don't
What a
Sure
call
was.
on the flop. What a call on the flop.
I think that turn bet was like about $175 or so, $200 maybe. And they both called.
Well, of course, Karp's got the nut flush draw.
Well, that's true.
I mean, we talk about great poker players having great instincts. Knowing when to call, using your gut, and knowing when to fold.
Is
And-
Karp
No, it's perfect
good
just
poker
like this.
player? I mean,
Yes.
wait, okay.
Yes, he is. But Raymer was the one that made the great call there with pocket
Just kidding,
jacks with
Warren.
ace.
See, Warren and I are good friends, so I can needle him.
So far, Mike stinks. Time.
Time, please.
Notice how Greg puts the cards in the window for us, and then he pulls them out, looks at them, and puts them back
60.
again. Pocket threes.
Greg's got pocket threes. He limped. And Mike called with 6-9 suited, and
Warren's got pocket eight.
he's going to come over the top here. Seat 7's going to call with Queen 10 suited.
Queen 10 suited.
And I would imagine that Raymer's going to call with pocket 3s.
Doesn't look like it's a real big raise.
Looks like it was a raise to 60. So you're looking at four-way action, about $250 pot right now.
10-9-5, 2 hearts.
And Mike actually has the best hand right now with the 6-9. But Seat 7 has got 2 over. Seat 7 has flopped the monster, actually. He has top pair with flush draw. Excuse me. Couldn't see that was a 10.
Bet $50.
Mike calls the second pair.
I think he kind of underbet the pot, didn't he? $50?
It's a $250 pot. You would think so. And Carp's going to quickly fold pocket 8s. Maybe people are sensing that it's kind of a sucker bet. Look at this. He's made queens up with the flush draw.
Yeah.
What a powerful hand.
I don't know about you, but when they put a small bet in like that, I get a little suspicious.
That's what I mean. I think maybe that's what people were feeling, that it was underbetting.
Now
and
he
trying
comes
to trap.
up. If those are, I can't see if those are yellow or purple chips.
Yeah, Jack 8, King Jack.
Seat 7. I think.
Yeah, it looked like he bet a.
They were purple. That's like
he
$400 he bet there. So you go from a $50 bet to a $400 bet.
$400 into maybe a
you're giving out
$400 or
information.
$500 pot.
You're giving out information. Even me, the amateur, can figure that one out.
That was a little bit of a suspect bet there. Such a small bet into that flop, but he definitely could have been beat though on the flop, Denny. You know, he had a top pair, which is a 10, with the flush draw, which is a great hand, but you know, someone could have had a 10 with a more higher kicker. On the turn, of course, he picks up a great 2 pair, but maybe he puts Mike on a higher flush draw. Didn't want him to draw her out.
All right, seat 1 is showing King Queen of spades. We'll go all the way to seat 7 with pocket 6s. He folds. Mo's got a Jack 10 of hearts.
Now it makes it worthwhile. Good, you can
seat 1 and 9.
After coming through, you can pick it up if you want. Check.
Flop is a 10-9 deuce.
Oh, there. Huh?
Yeah, I'd probably go over there.
29, 27.
You can't have a fountain pen. It's going to make the table short.
Another 9.
Make the table too short if you leave.
Mo's got the best hand so far. Deuce pairs the board.
Yeah, he likes short. I like short handed.
Yeah, people watching. Hey, who do they want to see? Mike, me.
I thought it was me.
You're right.
Wow, and look at that. King Queen calls just with King high.
Well, he knows how Mo plays sometimes, and thought maybe he was on a bluff, but he really wasn't. He had the best hand. Top pair. Hey, if you want to come down and play in this $500 game, we have seats open. Doesn't appear to be any board. You could be on live at the bike.
They have it.
Be doing this till 10 o'clock tonight.
But I don't like it.
Greg Raymer's going to get out of the game there and come in here and commentate a little bit. Hope the game holds together.
And he said, go ahead and lock the seat for me.
That's one thing we've never discussed. What if a game breaks while we're in the middle of a show?
I would have done it over there if I had thought it through.
35?
If that happens, you and I'll go out there and play head up, okay? With their headphones on. You could give us each a little monitor so we could see each other's hole cards.
Kid with the glasses.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
Pocket 4s in seat 4. Ace Queen suited in seat 7.
Ryan Ruff.
Seat 6 has got looks like a Jack 10 suited. Look at this. I think seat 6 has picked up an open-ended straight flush draw. What a hand.
He sure has.
Yep.
I got one of those the other night playing on our Play for Free site, but I didn't hit it.
And it looks like he raised. Pocket 4s bet into the flop, and Carp raised. Look at that. Pretty big complete draw.
Well, we got a player moving into seat 1 now. Marshall in seat 1 moved to seat 4. And we'll get this gentleman's name.
And Denny, in that situation there, pocket 4s, which is the underpair, betting into Warren Carp's Jack 10 of diamonds, Warren Carper's got 2 overcards. He's got an open-ended straight draw, and he's got a flush draw. He's actually about a 3-1 favorite to win that hand, even with 2 cards coming. So many outs. It's just incredible.
I was leaving anyways.
He's got 17 outs for the open-ended straight draw and the flush draw, plus 6 overcards. 23 outs twice. Big favorite.
Craig, you going down to Rincon?
45.
Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'll sleep in late enough that I can still take a shower and get out of the hotel room on time.
You can ask for
Mo's got pocket aces here.
Ooh, pocket rockets, and C4's got pocket jacks.
They'll play the Mega 6 satellite tomorrow morning.
Couldn't tell how much Mo. I think Mo raised to about either 40 or 50.
I want to see an ace king jack on the flop.
You don't get your wish, but pocket jacks still might think his hand is good here, Denny. See how much Mo pushes this. 150.
150.
150.
Mo's got the ace of spades too, so might not
Marshall's
be
calling.
No, look at this. Seat 4 looks like went raised. Couldn't tell how much he raised there. Looks like he raised maybe another 200.
He's raising.
And he's going to re-raise.
200.
Yeah, I see.
Mo's going to re-raise to 200 more.
600.
Oh, 600 more.
I move all in.
And look at this. Seat 4 moves all in for another 200 and change, it looks like. Mo quickly calls. And look at that. Jack comes on the turn, giving him trips. And aces is going to lose again, Denny.
Well, he needs a spade or the board to pair or an ace.
Yep, if he needs a spade, he definitely has outs.
He's got a lot of outs.
Run it twice? Is that what you're
It's up to you. Twice.
What do you want to do?
Twice.
Go ahead.
And they're going to run it twice. They're going to chop the pot in half here. Doesn't come.
Okay.
Jacks are going to win that
Marshall
one.
wins that one.
And the spade, and it's going to get chopped in half.
Chop pot.
Wow.
Fair is fair, Marshall. You got fair. You got hit. I know. I got that.
I didn't.
I know you didn't.
Thank you very much.
Got so excited there, Denny, when I saw the jack. I didn't realize that Mo had outs with the spade also. So luckily, he picked up, trip jacks in the turn, but it was jack of spades giving Mo some outs. The ace of spades.
I'll be seeing you guys. You won't be seeing me.
So Greg Raymer leaves the game, and I guess he's going to cash in his chips. He'll be in here shortly.
We got to use the poker MD moniker, you know.
I know. That hand.
I'll give him my seat. He can do some commentating here.
River 9 came.
And I'll go watch his car.
Because of that, I said, go ahead and take that one. He called you with
That was quite a big all-in by seat 4 there. He had a lot more than I first thought.
Eric, hold your head
whites.
straight there.
About a $5,000-6,000 pot there.
Yeah.
You don't want to chop?
And our first chop of the night, Denny. Folded around to the small blind, and they're not going to see a flop, so they have reduced collection here at the bike when you don't see a flop. The rake is only 50 cents instead of the normal $3 or $4, depending on the game.
Uh-huh. Oh.
We're playing a little bit short here now, Denny. Well, it's
only
6 or
two
7
seats,
players?
so
Seven players, okay. So it's not that
Seat-
short.
Seat 4 is a queen jack, 10-3 suited, seat 5, ace tray suited, seat 6, king 10 offsuit, seat 7, and a jack 7 suited for
20.
Mo in seat 9. And
20?
flop is,
I wasn't hungry.
I can't tell if that's a jack or a queen. I think
Queen
it's
8-5, it looks like.
Queen 8-5.
And C4's got the best hand here with Queen Jack. Seat 7 is betting with his King 10. Seat 4's gonna gets checked to seat 4. Seat 4 bets right out and takes the pot down with top pair.
All right, Mo's going to move over from seat 9 to seat 2.
Thank you.
Eric, did you want C3 or are you okay there? I'm okay here. Okay. I'm done.
30.
You got it there.
Oh, sorry. I forgot.
I know.
Not very much.
You want to be famous, you got to put your cards on the board.
I'm called to that girlfriend. I'm called.
You call?
That's great. And we're doing a show connected with the Academy of Music Awards. There's probably a 10% chance of it,
50?
maybe a 5% chance of it falling through.
There's always a chance.
Well, my friend got into
I see a question here from someone on 2+2. I worked at WJPZ in Syracuse. They asked me what radio station I worked at.
Wasn't WKRP in Cincinnati?
No.
Huh?
WJPZ. We were kind of a rhythmic top 40 dance station. Worked there from 97 through 99.
We were one of the power stations. Remember?
In Power, Top 40,
Power
Power 101,
that was a
something
big
like that.
phase for a while. Power 105 it was.
I just filmed the show
Kind
on
of like
on
a
the
Kiss
cruise ship.
FM, I guess.
Yeah.
C4 is a King 10 of spades. C5, 4, 7. Jumping around here a little bit. 3, 6 in seat 1.
25.
Pocket jacks in seat number 6. Warren Carp.
15 more, please.
King jack in seat 7.
Productions, I think it's
25 is a bet.
$25 bet.
Poker cruise?
It was a poker cruise, yeah.
Looks like we're going to have three-way action. Seat 4, 6, and 7. King, queen, deuce.
So King Jack is in the lead here.
50.
King 10's going to bet right out. 2 overcards. Carp quickly discards his jacks.
Raise 100.
He's going to double the bet. Raise it up to 100. Seat 4 is going to call.
It's a nice little raise, you know. It wasn't too much, not too
And
low.
look at this. It looks like Seat 4's made kings up. 10
Yeah,
comes on the turn.
kings and tens.
We might see a check raise here, Denny.
No, he just flat call.
Flat calls. Maybe afraid about the straight.
Got a check raise here. No, they both checked it down.
They checked it down.
Yeah. Well, here it comes.
And look who's entered the booth right here.
World champion, Greg Raymer. Greg, how are you?
Thank you, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you.
I was curious. They had decent games going most of the time on a cruise.
Doing a little bit of an equipment change here. As Greg Raymer enters the booth.
Moneymaker was the host.
Put that headset on there.
Click on the final table.
See if we can hear you all right.
All right, how's that?
How are we doing, Greg?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
So, we saw some great calls from you here earlier. What did you think about this table of play here? 5-10 blinds, I assume that's a little bit smaller than you usually play at a no-limit cash game.
Well, actually, there's not a lot of no-limit cash games out there that I am playing in. I live in Connecticut near Foxwoods. And we do get like $1 and $2 blind games all the time, but not a lot that's bigger than that.
Like a $100 or a $200 max blind game.
So I don't bother to play with those very often. I mean, 5-10 is not a small game. It's we used to get a regular 5-5 blind game, and I would sometimes win $5,000 in a game like that. So it's just a question of how deep the stacks are.
Of course, a lot of people don't realize that sometimes that, when an unrestricted buy-in game, just because the blinds are small doesn't necessarily mean someone's not going to have $30,000 or $40,000 in front of each other and can put all in against each other in one hand.
Exactly. I mean, I would usually buy into the 5-5 blind game for $5,000, and the question would just be how deep are the next biggest stacks in that game. And there were times when I got, $3,000 or $4,000 in the middle by somebody. And won the pot, and lost the pot too a few times.
Well, I had gone out around 5:30 before our broadcast, and I just wanted to check out your chip stack, and it looked like you had bought in for quite a bit, maybe 30 or 40 grand. Something like that.
I showed up today with 6 $5,000 chips from the Commerce.
Okay.
So I bought into the table for 30,000. I don't remember anyone at the table ever having more than a couple thousand total in front of them. So. Of course, that means 28,000 of my stack is superfluous. It's just there for show.
Right. Well, I was wondering if you just wanted to make sure that you covered everyone or the entire table's chips.
I had no idea how deep anyone else would be, so I was happy to be as deep as anyone else in the game might be. And of course, in some cases, it makes it easy. It's like I wasn't sure whether some guy maybe had 500, 600, 700 left.
Right.
So I would just say bet and toss out the $5,000 chip, and then you don't have to worry about counting them exactly.
Exactly. And I saw that you were playing pretty loose there. You won a couple pots with 10-7 offsuit. I thought you made a great call there with guy was betting into an open-ended straight draw. He had king-queen and bet $500 at you.
As soon as he bet the turn, and he checked the flop, he bet the turn, and that was actually the hand I exactly put him on, was king-queen. So I knew he had lots of outs, and I knew that if I raised, unless I made a huge over-raise, he wasn't going to go away. And even then, I wasn't sure he would. And, of course, the real problem with making the huge over-raise is that, let's say I'm 90% sure of where he's at. Well, the 10% that I'm wrong, I'm going to be either drawn dead or way, way behind.
Right.
So I was preferring to see the river for cheap, and then find out what was going on.
I was going to say the jack on the end there. Of course, the board was I think it might have been jack blank blank, and it was a jack high was the board, and then the river paired a jack.
Something like jack 2-3 or jack 3-4. Then I caught a 10 to make a pair.
Right.
And then he checked the flop and bet the turn, and that just screamed of king queen, because he picked up the big draw with the overcards, whereas on the flop he's just worried about getting trapped. He's out of position on the hand.
And of course the river pairs jack, and you're probably not too concerned about that. And at that point you think you have the best hand.
Since he checked the flop, you don't put him on a jack.
Do you think there might have been a slight possibility that he had an overpair and he was going to try to check raise you on the flop?
Oh sure, that's one of the reasons I didn't raise him on the turn. I mean, I thought I had the best hand, and I thought he had lots of outs. But it's, again, if I'm, the only dangerous part is if the guy's really bluffing big with nothing.
Right.
Like a baby pair, or even, something like unconnected little cards.
Right.
Then, I'm going to lose a lot of chips. And, I misspoke there. What I meant to say is if he's got some real bluffing hand where he doesn't even have outs on me for the river card, if one of those scare card hits, the ace, king, queen, or 9 hits, that is going to beat me if he has king, queen. He's going to be able to successfully bluff me when he hits the river.
Exactly.
So I'm giving him a chance to bluff me successfully by playing it the way I did.
But that river card, when it paired a jack, is almost kind of a nice card for you.
That's about a perfect card.
Yeah,
obviously, if that helped him, then I was already beat.
You were already dead, right?
And so it's not like it could have made him a better hand if he was behind.
Small blind, sir. Big blind.
So I guess we better start telling them about the play of the hands here at some point.
Yeah. We have a nice
I'm going to have to get used to your setup, though, so I can figure out what's what.
We have our producer here. We have the whole cameras down here, and she tries to put the whole cards up, as fast as possible. And I was explaining to some of the viewers, because we sometimes do limit games, that a lot of people like to limp in with a lot of hands in this game because the implied odds in no limit are so much more than a limit game, right?
Oh, exactly.
Talking about the amount of money that you can make in the future if you hit your hands.
Implied odds are everything in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can't say everything. When someone pushes all in, there are no implied odds. So who do we have here?
So it looks like we got four-way action. You can see the cards up on the left-hand side of the screen here. We've got three-way action.
Three-way action.
A couple of ace garbage on the suit.
Aces. No one hit that flop at all, so it's going to be a question of who bluffs.
Yep. A couple of people have a gut shot straight draw, 7 and a 9.
Now here we got some action. The ace hits. We got seat 2 with ace 5 and seat 6 with ace 9. And neither of them's too thrilled with their kicker. And the king comes on the river, so we've got a board of 6, 8, 10, ace, king. The ace 9 is the best hand.
Looks like a bet and a call from both aces.
Ace 9 is going to hold up.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to your setup because I'm not. It is tough to follow. I mean, I've done this once before, and it was even harder on that setup when I was in Dublin.
The tricky thing about this too, and of course it's always very important, no limit to no pot size and the amount of the bets. Sometimes if the dealer doesn't call off the bets, it's a little bit difficult to pick up what the size of the bet is.
Yeah, unfortunately, even though we've got a pretty good view here, given the little bit of gleam off the chips, the reflection of the light, it's hard to tell what color they are.
That's about it.
Let's see what we got here.
On you, Craig.
Unfortunately, I don't know most of these guys' names. I know Warren Karp in the 6th seat. He's a good player, very solid player.
A lot of players have been moving around here. We kind of have an approximate mode.
Well, yeah, and of course Mo. Okay, Mo took over my seat. I'm sure he believes it was a lucky seat since I beat him while sitting there. Mo's a good, very tricky player. It's hard to put him on a hand. But that's the thing. I mean, when he bets into you, and the situation is ripe for a bluff, especially if it's just a river bet, you often have to call him if you have something, because he is going to be bluffing often enough for calling him to be profitable.
Well, the funny thing, Greg, was that we've been doing this broadcast for the last 3 or 4 weeks, and we've seen Mo several times, and he's played pretty much straightforward the entire time that he's been on the show, and he's only been putting in those kind of crazy bluffs just tonight. And it was kind of a little bit unorthodox for him to.
I guess I inspired him. I mean, actually, I wouldn't have guessed that would have much impact on Mo, but I know that when people play against me now, some of them.
Ooh, pocket rockets there against ladies. Look at this.
Aces against queens. I wonder how much we're going to get. I just heard 150. Someone made a nice raise. So we've got Mike in the middle there with pocket aces, and we have Eric in the 8th seat with pocket queens. Mike is trapping there. He just called the re-raise.
Flat called the re-raise.
And he flopped top set. Well, that's going to be... He's thrilled that he just improved his hand so dramatically, but unfortunately, he's not going to be able to extract any more money out of Eric, most likely.
Scary board for pocket queens.
But see, now Mike keeps checking the flop, checking the turn. Even though there were 2 spades out there, Mike was willing to take the risk. Now he's finally going to bet the river when it reads 6, 7, 8.
And he's going to get a call.
He succeeded. That was well played. Mike has ace, and that was a great play by Mike. He was willing to take the risk. I mean, we got 2 spades on the flop and a straight draw with 6-8.
Of course, he has the ace of spades in his hand, so that might make it a little bit better.
Sure.
Put him on a flush draw.
But he still needs to be concerned about that. It's true that if a spade hits the turn, he has a draw for the river to catch up. But, and the way they played the hand, getting $150 in before the flop, it's hard for him to imagine that Eric has a straight draw with the 6-8 on the board.
Right.
I mean, he's going to have 7-9, 7-5, something like that. I would actually be more worried about something like if it's when the 7 that hit the river, because you'd think it's a lot more likely that Eric has something like a 9-10 suited than that he has a 9-7 or a 5-7 suited.
Right.
And now the gut shot comes.
And of course, we saw that hand where the guy next to you in seat 1 flopped top set with aces, and you had a flush draw with a pair with your, I believe it was 9-8 of diamonds.
Yeah, I got lucky there. I mean, he obviously had the perfect flop, so to speak. He had me drawing, as a 2-to-1 dog, or worse than a 2-to-1 dog.
Look at the seat 7's flop the bottom end of the straight right here. Right.
Yeah, we have a flop of King, Queen, Jack, and Dr. BB in seat 7 has the 9-10 for the made straight. He only has 1 hand to worry about at the moment. Mm-hmm. There are 2 diamonds on the board, but really no one has a diamond draw. Seat 1, whose name I don't know, has the 7 of diamonds, but he just folded his hand. Mm-hmm. So really, that's about the only chance anyone has to win here. We have seat 6. Warren has the Queen 10, so he can draw to the same hand right now.
He's got second pair with the straight draw there with an ace.
He's got an open-end straight draw, and if his 9 or ace hits, then he will tie seat 7, Dr. BB. But
it looks like he put in a bet of about $40, and BB came over the top for about $200 or $100.
Warren folded. It looks like a $35 bet and a $100 raise, and Warren threw his hand away.
And I tell the viewers a lot, Greg, and I'd like your opinion about this, that I love to fast play things. I don't necessarily like to flat call unless I really think I have the nut hand and I'm going to trap an opponent. Some people would flat call there with 9-10. I like to raise because I think you can back into a situation where the pot's going to be chopped, and you split the pot and you lose your action in that case. So.
Well, I mean, both strategies have a lot going for them. I mean, if you play fast all the time, either play fast or fold, then again, no one can read you. You play fast when you've got a big hand. You play fast when you've got a medium hand that you want to bet, and you play fast when you're bluffing.
Right.
No one's going to be able to tell the difference between the bluff, the bare value bet hand, and the big monster. Similarly, if you trap every time, they won't know if you're just looking for a free card because you got garbage or because you're trapping with a monster. So all those strategies have something to say, but I think the best strategy is going to mix it up depending upon exactly who you're playing and exactly what you've got. In other words, have a lot of variety. Trap with monsters sometimes and play them fast sometimes.
So mix it up. That's the best.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's an easy generic thing to say, and it doesn't tell you much. It's not like it tells you how to mix it up, which is the real hard part.
Right.
But certainly, it's kind of like I'm a big advocate of when I raise before the flop as the first one to enter the pot. I like to have a standard amount for the size of the blinds in a cash game or a tournament. You may have noticed that pretty much every time I raised first in tonight, I made it 25. And I did that whether I had a piece of garbage that I was just trying to get cute with, or whether I had a real hand like pocket queens or something.
Possibly trying to confuse the players so they can't necessarily put you on a hand using a standard sized raise every time.
Yeah, exactly. If it's the same raise every time, they don't know where you're at. I mean, they may know you're capable of bluffing. They may know you're capable of not trapping with the monster hand, and they can't put you on one of those. And I'm a big advocate of that. It simplifies things for you as a player. Now, there's a lot to be said for varying all these things and manipulating the opponents, but that takes an extreme level of expertise to do that successfully. Now this table is not, this is not a lineup of world-class players. I mean,
right.
We have some players here who are very good, but this is not, Barry Greenstein and Gus Hanson and so forth who are playing against here. So there is a lot of room to potentially manipulate these guys. But when you're playing over your head, whether you're a great player or a mediocre player, or if you're playing, even if you're one of the greatest in the world, if you're playing against other people who are also great players, mixing things up like that before the flop with different size raises, in other words, attempting to manipulate the opponent can backfire easily, because if they're a great player, they can see through it.
Right.
Or there's a risk of them seeing through it, no matter how great you are.
And I'm also assuming that a great player is paying attention a great deal of time and can pick up patterns in your betting easily, more so than possibly some of the weaker players that might be at this table.
These guys are probably, for the most part, in the top 5% of all poker players in the world. But world class is probably more like the top 1%.
Right.
So, I don't mean to say anything right now to denigrate any of these players' abilities. They're all very good players, and all of them are, for the most part, are going to win in the majority of public poker games in the world. But all I mean to say is that you're not talking about some of the best. You're not talking about like a Billy Duarte who's made his living playing pot limit, no limit poker for decades. You try to manipulate Billy Duarte, you're just going to bet. You're just going to stab yourself. He's going to see through it a lot more often than you're going to fool him.
Well, that's the one thing that you could be guaranteed.
Well, let's see. We go back to a hand here. Now we just have.
Got Queen 10 and Ace 10 here.
So Mo and Eric both have top pair on the turn. The flop was 2-6-7 with a 10 on the turn. There's two hearts on the board. Both of them have one heart and a 10. But Eric has Ace 10 and Mo has Queen 10.
They couldn't understand.
I couldn't quite catch the action. Now we got the third heart. They both have one heart in their hand and nothing, but it's they're just going to show it down.
Looks like it gets checked down.
It was a check on the end, which doesn't surprise me because we also got a 4-card straight.
4-card straight too.
We got 6, 7, 8, 10 on the board.
So any 2 hearts is going to be flush, or any 9 is going to be a straight there too. So that's a definite scare card.
So top kicker doesn't look so great when there's a 4-card straight on the board with 3 hearts.
Well, I have to ask you, Greg. I know that how was the World Series win? Of course, you were the winner in the main event in 2004. How has that changed your life? You play poker full time right now. You're not practicing law anymore, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I quit my job at Pfizer, and now I'm basically out on the road 3/4 of the time.
Do you love it? Is it what you've always tried to?
I wouldn't say I love it, but I like it a lot more than my old job.
Which was being a patent attorney, right?
Correct. I was a patent attorney specializing in biotechnology for Pfizer, and so that was a very 9-to-5 job. And if you have to work for a living, I highly recommend being a patent attorney. But now I work for PokerStars. They pay me to represent them at these big tournaments and to get them media attention, and so they pay a lot better than my old job paid.
And of course,
travel around and play poker.
And of course, the winner in 2003, which kind of started the big poker craze, was Chris Moneymaker, who also won a satellite on Poker Stars. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge coup for them in terms of the PR value and the advertising value. They run all these ads that either say, Chris Moneymaker turned $40 into $2.5 million, or it says Greg Raymer turned $160 into $5 million. What can Poker Stars do for you? So, for them, it's just a fantastic advertising campaign that they have available to them.
Oh, look at this, Big Slick suited.
Ace King of Diamonds by Mike in the 5 seat, and we've just seen him successfully trap with a set of aces a few hands ago. So let's see how he plays this one.
And Mike's actually played very aggressive.
He is playing very aggressive.
He's taken down a lot of pots with not the best hand.
Well, that's interesting.
I know you couldn't tell when you were playing, but he bet some.
So he just put in a raise here, and he is now going to win the pot pre-flop. Is he going to show the hand? No, he's not going to show. I might have showed that hand myself. Oh, look what he was against, too. King 8 and King 7. I mean, he'd love to have gotten action there.
It's domination, what they call, right? When you have that top pair.
When you have that top problem is there's only one king left in the deck, and even if it hits, I mean, what kind of board is King 7 and King 8 going to give him a lot of action unless they flop 2-pair on him?
How do you like to play Ace-King if you have it from up front? If you bring it in for a raise and then there's a few people that call from behind and you don't get anything on the flop, do you like to lead and see where you're at in the hand? Or
well, in a cash game like this where the money's deep, there's no problem with just saying check and fold when you have Ace-King, players are behind you and you miss. But it depends how many players you have and what kind of texture the board is. I mean, if you've got a raggedy board like a Queen 3-8 or something like that, and there's no reason to think anyone has a hand, you might want to take a stab at it just because there's a good chance that they will all throw their hand away.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got it.
I mean, you might be bluffing with the best hand. But I couldn't give any generalizations for that at all. In a tournament, I would often go with it because the money's kind of shallow, and often it might be there's only 1 or 2 bets left before someone's all in. And, so if the flop comes Queen 8-3, the guy who called my pre-flop raise with pocket sixes can often throw it away.
Right. And, of course, as we always explain to the viewers, this is the first time that really a cash game has ever been televised, and there's a lot of differences between a cash game and a tournament. If you go broke in a tournament, you're done.
Mike's coming in for a raise here. What do we have?
Looks like he's got Queen 10 offsuit.
Queen 10 offsuit for Mike, coming in raise in late position, and he's going to take it down. Boom. So there's another little $15. See, there's no problem with that. I mean, even if he had the best hand, he shouldn't be disappointed with just winning the blinds there.
Right.
I mean, one of the nice things here is because he's being aggressive, doing a lot of raising before the flop, he's building up that loose aggressive image. So now what he's going to have to do is remember that, if someone comes over the top of him later before the flop and he has a pretty good hand but not a monster, he's going to be a little more inclined to play. Because he's built up the loose image that people are going to play back at him a little more liberally.
Maybe people think that he's going on steel raises and I can come back over the top of him with a weaker hand than I normally do.
I mean, there's nothing better in the world than like raising the pot and taking down the blinds like 3 or 4 times in a row and then getting dealt aces. Because when you raise again for the 4th or 5th time, you're going to get some good action.
So we got seat 4's flopped top pair here.
Yeah, Marshall in the 4th seat has King Queen, top pair. Now the audience can see in this display on the left, right?
Yes.
Just like I am?
Right.
Okay, great.
And the other cards are on the right if it ever spills over there on the top right, seat 8 and seat 9.
Seat 8, seat 9. Okay, yeah, thanks for explaining that to me. Well, boy, look at that. 4s, 5s, pocket 6s. There's could be a lot of bad turn cards for King Queen here. So Marshall, and also he's got Queen 9 deuce. There's a straight draw, there's a flush draw. I mean, a lot of people see the flop with 10 jack for no raise.
Right.
So if I'm Marshall, I would definitely, don't want to slow play this flop.
And of course, seat 9 has the flush draw.
He has let out. That's right. Seat 9 has the flush draw with 5-7. Well, he's gotten rid of 4 of those undercards that could hit and cripple him. And
2 players.
He got rid of everything but the flush draw, which is the scariest of the bunch if he knows it. Now that's going to be a great card for the flush draw. If he goes out, takes a stab betting this one.
No, he checks it. And look at this. Gets checked around. He's going to get a free card.
Yep. Well, I don't blame him for checking it. I mean, it's a scary card for the flush, and how does he know that hasn't improved the guy who let out? I mean, Ace-Queen is a very possible hand. Now he's finally going to bluff at it after you induced the bluff. Marshall induced the bluff by checking behind on the turn, and the player in seat 9 has sensed that weakness, and he's going to take a stab at it even though he's cut 7 high nothing.
I can't see that possibly that Marshall in seat 4 is going to be that scared of that ace. I couldn't see him possibly laying this hand down.
Well, see, the thing is, if you got called by a flush draw, it often might be the nut flush draw.
Could be the ace flush draw.
So the ace comes. Now, the flush draw just made top pair, but that doesn't mean he assumes his hand's any good.
Right.
So he could check because he's not sure it's any good, and he could check because he's trapping. But I think it was a great bluff attempt. It didn't work this time, and I don't know Marshall well enough. I only played with him here for half an hour or whatever at this table. But against many players, that's a great bluff attempt there. I mean, that's exactly what you expected Marshall to have when he checked behind on the turn, was something like king-queen.
Right.
Maybe Marshall has a flush draw himself, and he's decided he's done semi-bluffing it, or he has the top pair or the middle pair, and the ace overcard scared him.
You can't really think that he's got ace-queen because he's not going to let a free card come off if he thinks seat 9's got a flush draw when he makes aces up. He's not going to check behind on the turn.
I tell you what, though, it shows out one of the great things about having position. If you're the flush draw and you have position on Marshall, now when that turn card hits, that ace hits on the turn, Marshall's going to have to go first. He's going to check into you, and now you're going to have a chance to bluff right then and there, where there's a much better chance of it working. Whereas when you've already had to check it, Marshall checks behind, he knows he might be inducing the bluff.
Right.
And so you're either trapping him, or his queen is still good when you check the turn.
Of course, that allows for so many more hands to be played when you're playing from a superior position on back. You can just limp in. If you can get in cheaply, you can almost play any two cards, right? Because the action in front of you is going to dictate how you're going to play out back.
How can I argue against playing any two cards on the button, if I'm playing any two cards under the gun?
Right. Well, I got to remember that 10-7 offsuit, man. That was good to you tonight. That could be my new favorite hand.
Well, those kind of coincidences happen. You just, a hand you happen to get a few times and you play it. I mean, it's not so much that I'm a field player, so to speak. I'm a very kind of scientific, mathematical-based player. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to, when I say I'm not a field player, I'm not saying like, I have a hunch on this hand. It's more like, I just have a feeling that the current attitude of my opponents is such that I think I might be able to take advantage of them this hand. I think they're either ready to give up or they're ready to, pay me off, one or the other. So I'm going to come in either hoping to flop a monster when I think they're going to pay me off, or I'm hoping they just miss so I can bluff them.
Marshall's flopped a pretty huge hand here, a monster. He's flopped the top pair with a high flush draw, and pocket threes bet into him.
Well, pocket threes is taking a big risk.
Yeah.
That's Marshall in seat 4 who bet the pocket threes.
There's the flush, Greg.
Well, you're going to have a hard time bluffing out King 10 now.
Yep.
King 10 of spades isn't likely to go anywhere.
And look at that. He's going to check right behind.
Great. I think that's a great check.
Yeah.
Give that guy a chance to bluff again. And let's see if he falls for it.
And look at this.
Yep.
Just like we talked about, Greg.
It was a great check.
Yep.
That's because he had position. He could do that.
See if he pumps it up a little bit here.
I would hope he's going to raise here. I mean, on this board, there's only one hand he can worry about.
Right.
I would certainly not be at all concerned. I mean, the only real reason not to raise here is if you've got a feeling that Marshall either has the ace-high flush or he's going to fold. But I would expect to get called by any flush.
And he quickly folds his pocket threes. A great example of checking behind on the button, 4th Street, inducing a bluff from someone up front on the river.
Well, what you mentioned earlier about you like to play things fast. I mean, sometimes you make a lot more money by playing things slow, even when it's a high-risk situation.
Right.
I mean, let's pretend that instead of a flush that Eric, or I'm sorry, the guy in seat 9, whose name I don't know, let's pretend he had made a straight and there's 2 or 3 spades on the board. When he makes a straight on the turn, that would be considered a high-risk slow play.
Right.
Because you could be given a free card to a hand that has lots of outs.
And a 4th spade comes on the river and you've had a disaster.
Exactly. I mean, so you are risking a disaster. But that might be the best way to play it because, taking a disaster 20% of the time where you lose the pot might be fine. If the other 80%, you win quite a bit more money when you induce a bluff or a mistaken value bet from the other player.
5 players.
So it can definitely be, worth the risk. And that's one of the reasons that when you sit down in a game, you want to be aware of, your bankroll and those kind of considerations. If you're in a game like this, that either, economically for your bankroll or psychologically just for your state of mind is too big, then you can't afford to make those kinds of high-risk, high-reward plays.
And it's going to affect your play because you might be playing slightly scared because you're afraid of losing this money.
Well, that's what I mean by psychologically. I mean, your bankroll might be big enough, but it's over. If the game is too big for your psychological bankroll, then you're not going to play well because you're going to avoid high risk. You're going to have a flop that comes king 8-3, and you're going to be jamming with your pocket kings because you're afraid of getting drawn out on
right.
in a spot where there's almost no chance of it. I've seen guys lose in spots where they haven't even slow played, but they've not overplayed a hand. Well, this is interesting, but
looked like Mo made a total bluff there on the river.
Sure.
He had 2-7 of spades, and guy caught the full house there on the river there with the queen. Really had almost the nut hand. Only pocket aces was going to beat that hand, and made the call there. It was an interesting play there, Greg, that Mo bet right into that hand, and I wasn't really paying attention to the action beforehand, but he flat called with the queen high, full house, queens, and sixes. And some people wonder, well, why don't you raise? Well, if there's a hand that can beat you out there, there might not be necessarily any value in raising because the only way that your raise is going to be called is if it's going to be a hand that beats you, right?
Well, exactly. It doesn't matter if you're 99% sure that you have the best hand.
Right.
The question is, if I raise, how often of those 99 will the guy call me?
Right.
And how often will he never call me?
Right.
So if the guy's going to fold the 99 times you've got him beat, and he's going to call or raise the one time out of 100 he has you beat,
right,
then it's a terrible bet.
Right.
Because you can't win. You can only lose. You're right. I was also paying more attention to our conversation than I was to the game, so I didn't follow the play of the hand closely enough. It's actually rather awkward following the play on a TV screen.
Yeah.
This is why the live broadcasts are so hard to do. The things move so fast that it's difficult to keep track of who's got what quick enough to follow things. You'd almost need some kind of unbelievable setup. And you guys have a great setup back here, much better than I was expecting to see.
It kind of reminds me a little bit about commentating baseball, where there are slow parts and exciting parts that happen, things that build up. The only thing is we don't have between innings here. We're going for 4 hours straight. So sometimes if I don't pick up a double belly buster, got a straight draw that comes on the turn, it's because we're dealing with a lot of things and we're doing this for so long a period of time.
Well, that's why it's a lot easier to tape it and edit it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No one has much of anything here.
No.
Marshall in seat 4 is ahead with his ace high, but I doubt he's too thrilled with it right now. I mean, he might even be wondering if a deuce comes to give him a straight, whether he's not drawn dead to a full house. And someone, Mike got aggressive. No surprise there. The king 9, he just decided that no one had anything, he would take the pot. In tournament play, taking down little pots like this is much more important than it is in a cash game. But even in a cash game, it doesn't hurt because you're now, adding a little bit here, a little bit there to your stack, which is never a bad thing. And you're setting up a loose image. You just have to remember to adjust correctly to the loose image you've created. Expect to get played back at more frequently.
You just brought up the issue of stack size, and obviously in tournament play, stack size is a huge, thing. And if you have a large stack size, you're at a super advantage to everyone else at your table. But in a cash game like this, how do you think stack size figures in? Are you at a great advantage if you have a large stack? I know some people like to come and do a short buy here, and sometimes they like to gamble it up. What do you think about stack size in a cash game?
Well, I think it's more a question of your attitude and the psychology that you have about the whole thing. I mean, when I first started playing big bet poker, it was a pot limit hold'em game in Oceanside when I used to work in San Diego with $3 and $5 blinds, and the minimum buy-in was only $100 for the game, and I would buy in for $100 or $200. And to me, I didn't care whether the other guy had 200 or 20,000 in front of him, because I knew that after the first 200, the rest of his stack essentially didn't exist. So it didn't bother me a bit that I was covered and that I could go broke. I mean, I came into the game knowing that the first big pot I play is either going to break me or double me up. And if a player comes in with that attitude, then I don't think it matters. They can come take a shot for a couple $100 or whatever is their comfort level, and they can still play a good game of poker, I believe. But the problem is the people who come in and are scared.
Right. Might be playing, again, like you said, above their psychological bankroll.
It doesn't surprise me at all when I see people, I've seen it so many times, where someone will come into a game like this with the 500 minimum.
Right.
And at least earlier, there was lots of, relatively big raises. It'd be 5-10, and someone would make it 50 or 60 right away. And you'd see the guy with the short stack for 500, and he's calling the 50. And then he's check folding on the flop.
Yeah.
And he's doing it again and again. And pretty soon they're down to a couple of hundred. And then they feel a little desperate, and they get it all in with king jack offsuit or something, and there's no chance they're going to be a big favorite.
It's funny. The guy that was in seat 4 who was wearing a blue bicycle hat actually was playing exactly that way, and he had gone all in with his pocket 8s, and seat 1, I don't know if you remember him, had taken him out, and he was playing extremely weak tight, and he had only bought in for the minimum. He did exactly what you said, was folding the best hand a bunch of times because he was scared.
Yeah,
and
an
overcard
you
hit.
can't see the flop and then throw away the best hand just because it's going to knock you out of the game.
Right.
If that's what's happening, then yes, the short buy was very bad news for you.
Now look at Dr. BB here in seat 7. He's flopped the king high flush.
King high flush, and it looks like he's just trapping with it. He just called.
Flat call.
We still got 4-way action? Wow.
No, 2 players. 2 players.
Oh,
Looks
okay.
like seat 9 and seat 5 and seat 7.
Okay.
Look at this. Mike's going to bet right in.
Mike picked up a straight draw on the turn, not knowing he was drawn dead.
Yep.
So he's taking his loose aggressive image a little bit too far. I bet he's going to get away from it now, though. So I don't think he'll try and bluff this one again.
With 8 high.
Well, I mean, that's all he has, of course.
Right.
He could try to hope that the doctor doesn't have a flush, and he can bluff him out of the pot.
So that was a great example of, flat calling on the turn and getting some more, inducing a bluff again on the river there, right?
I'm a huge fan of inducing bluffs. I mean, I love to do it. I think it's, against the right opponent, it's one of the best ways you can make money. Because there's a lot of very good, skillful players out there, and if you check to them 1 or 2 times, they just feel like they got a bluff at you. I mean, I'm a little bit guilty myself of bluffing a little too often if you check to me a lot.
That's kind of the classic Doyle Brunson theory of no-limit poker, right? If you're even back position and it's a check to you, bet with almost anything, right? Because check is checking these.
I mean, the only time it's really a problem is if you are going to be incapable of getting away from it intelligently. You don't want to be bluffing the flop, they get called, you bluff the turn, now they raise you, and then you're thinking to yourself, I can still win this pot, and forcing it with a bluff re-raise. You don't want to be doing that too often. I mean, you've got to be 100% that that's going to win when you do it. Well, here's an interesting little board. We got Marshall in seat 4 with a baby flush draw. And we have a top pair for Mike with his queen 7s. He's got top pair with a really bad kicker.
And he led right out for $45 with his queen 7.
Yeah, no problem there. But we got... But seat 9 has the really good... He has the made flush.
He's got the nut
flush. I
flush.
misread the board. I thought that was the queen of spades.
And he's got a gut shot straight draw, too, there.
It is the queen of spades. Okay, I'm sorry. I misread the TV monitor.
That could be done very easily.
Queen 7. Now, he just picked up a flush draw and a pair of 10s.
Yeah.
So seat 9 is... I don't think he's going to go anywhere at this point. He's probably thinking about whether my 10 could be good, should I raise. He's also got a gut shot straight draw for a jack.
Right.
So I can't imagine him leaving. So when he was sitting there fiddling with his chips, he was probably thinking about whether he's got a good enough hand to raise with and win it right there.
He might have raised there on the flop, too, with the flush draw and the gut shot straight draw. What do you think about that?
Sure.
Yeah. But he flat called on the flop.
Oh, you got 12 outs minimum. About the only hand that could have him in trouble would be something like ace queen of clubs, where they've got a pair and the better flush, and then he's down to 3 outs. Well, 6 outs, actually. You can catch a king or an offsuit jack.
Look at this. He's hit his club.
Mike dark checks.
Checked in the dark. And seat 9, actually, we couldn't quite see it, but he had actually raised Mike a bit, and Mike flat called on the turn. Okay. And then Mike checked blind. Now, of course, Mike still has top pair here with a weak kicker, so it's, I guess, a question of how much you're going to bet to extract a call out of here, right?
Well, I tell you, if Mike calls here, I'm surprised, because, I mean, at this point, it's kind of like, look, I've bet the flop, I've bet the turn. What can this guy have that he's going to bet the river and can't beat queen 7? I mean, there's nothing he can beat but a bluff.
Look at this, though. He's going to come over the top here, Greg. He's going to come over the top all in a quick call with the king of clubs.
Yeah,
I
think that was a mental error by Mike. He should have realized that, I mean, it smells of a bluff,
Yeah.
I mean, what, you're betting with a flush draw, and then when it comes and you're going to check raise, it's easy to say from back here because we can see the cards, but...
I mean, the only thing that Mike probably could have been thinking is the guy had a busted straight draw and was trying to make a move there on the river, right?
Yeah. He could think that. Or maybe he could think, look, I was beat all along by a better queen. and now I'm going to check raise bluff off this pot. But the whole situation kind of smelled of a desperation bluff.
Sometimes, players should look backwards at the hand, because if he was beat by a better queen, remember the guy in seat 9 had just flat called the flop, which would have been kind of a strange move if you had a queen with a high kicker, right? Just a flat call.
I wouldn't call it that strange. I mean, when the flop comes like that with a straight potential flush draws and all that, and even I have top pair best kicker, top pair good kicker, I might flat call, take a card off, see what the board looks like on the turn before I want to put lots of money.
Oh, I see. So kind of like the reverse way, you're waiting for a blank to hit on the turn,
exactly.
Right? Okay.
At the point where I know I can make the guy draw thin,
right?
Instead of giving him two times for the same draw, where he could be even money with me. I mean, that's another reason to mix it up as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got a 4-liner straight on the board, but no one has the 4, so... Well, pair 9's just sucked out to win this pot if he doesn't go away. Oh, he's betting. Well, I would not bet that 9. That would be a perfect time to induce a bluff.
When you have a 4 in the turn,
well, of course,
and check
I guess he was... no, everyone checked to him. I wouldn't have bet that.
Yeah.
It looked like there was no one left behind him that was between him and the button, so he was the last to act. That's one of those spots where I don't think he's really... even if he's sure he has the best hand 99% of the time, I don't expect to ever get called by a worse hand.
Right.
And I also don't expect that bet to get a better hand to ever fold.
So we talk about a value bet on the river from betting from out back. I mean, the chances...
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get called, and the chances are that you're going to lose if you're called, why bet? There's really no value in betting, right?
Yeah, I don't see any value in him betting that. I mean, I don't see where a worse hand is going to call him, and I don't see where a better hand is going to fold, given what that board was. I guess maybe if someone had pocket 10s and they were just scared of the ace, they might have check-folded the river as well, but how likely is that?
Right. You made a great call.
Another new player here in seat 6. Who do we got in seat 6 now?
I think we're
it was Warren. Did Warren move or quit the game? It's not Warren Karp. I know.
No, it's not Warren Karp. We'll get seat 6's name here coming in. They usually bring that to us pretty quick. You had made another good call with pocket jacks when there was an ace up on the flop about an hour and a half ago too, and Warren Karp had a busted diamond draw. And I think Mo bluffed, made a bluff into you.
Mo bluffed the turn,
yeah.
And I think then he gave up on the river. But I don't know, just something about the way Mo did that hand, where he was kind of like, what did I bet last time? I bet 1 1/4. And he went through the whole little acting routine. I don't know how well you could hear it back here on TV, but an earlier hand he had bet 125, and I called his bluff with like 7-4 offsuit where I'd made a pair of 7s.
Right.
And then what he was doing on that hand where I had the pocket jacks is he said, what did I bet last time and you called my bluff? 125, and then he put out the 125. The way he did all of that, it seemed pretty clear to me that he was bluffing again.
And I had commented to Denny that's just great poker instincts on your part, and the great players have great poker instincts, like a Daniel Negreanu is just got
I just swear, when Mo made that speech, I was just like, man, he is so desperate for me to fold so he can show this bluff. I just really felt like he was just dying to show a bluff to me and everyone else.
Now, of course, Karp was behind you, so you thought maybe he had a flush draw.
Well, I just didn't think Warren was. I figured Warren either has an ace and I'm done with the hand, or he'll fold.
Oh, okay.
So it surprised me when he called. And it occurred to me that he could have a flush draw, but it also occurred to me that he just had a bad ace and he was just going to check call, rather than bet out with it.
And now the interesting thing about that is then on the river, of course, the flush didn't come. Mo checked, you checked. Now Warren, he checks and he gives up on the hand pretty much from a button position. If he had put a bet in, what are you thinking now?
If he puts a bet in, I'm going to probably have to give him credit for an ace. If he puts in a normal, like 3/4 of the pot to pot size bet.
So you think he missed a bet there on the end? He could have taken that pot down?
He certainly could have gotten rid of Mo. I don't know what Mo had then, but
total bluff, I think it was. I don't think he had much of a draw.
So he's getting rid of Mo, and I don't think I'm calling. Once Warren overcalls me on the turn, and then bets the river.
Right.
It's kind of hard for me not to give him credit for a better hand than pocket jack.
I was thinking that a little bit too, that he gave up on that hand too easily.
We got the doctor with pocket 10s. We got a bunch of decent hands here. A king 8 suited, the ace queen off, ace 8 suited. So these are all pretty reasonable hands. And the ace.
Oh, look at this! He flops a set too. We're gonna see a lot of action here, probably, Greg, huh?
This should spell bad news for seat 9 with his ace queen.
Dr. Beebe checked from first position here, probably trying to set a trap.
No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, ace 7-10, it's rainbow. There's no flush draw. The only thing he worries about is a straight draw.
Now look at this. 8-8 comes over the top of ace queen, and now Dr. Beebe's got the set of 10s.
Yeah.
So we got a bet and then a raise to 150.
Ooh, the check re-raise.
Yeah, Dr. B comes in to makes it 300.
See, I might have just called there. Made it look like I was on a draw myself.
Now, if you're a guy with an ace-queen right now, what are you thinking?
Ace-queen, I'm thinking I have the best hand most of the time, even when the
Even with the check re-raise?
Well, with a check re-raise, I'm not thinking it so much. But,
Yeah.
Ooh, ace, yeah. But, man, I really would have loved a flat call from the doctor there because I think ace-8 ace-queen in the 9 seat. I think that guy's going to re-raise. He's thinking he's going to put the doctor on a straight draw, and he's going to want to make a big raise to shut him out of the pot. Or at least that's certainly a big potential that might happen.
Now ace-8 is in a real predicament. I think I'd get away from this hand with a new kicker.
Ace-8. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a check raise. And, after you raise, that's. If he calls with ace-8 there, he's going for the runner straight.
Now the question is, how is pocket 10's going to play this? Now he's made 10s full of 7s.
Full. Now this would be a great. I mean, I don't know how deep their two stacks are, but that might be a spot to do. If a check raise would put it all in, I would check raise. But I'm not sure how deep their stacks are.
You might have check raised from that position right there.
Yeah. It looks like I don't know how many bills the doctor has. It looks like a 200 in yellow. Now he's praying the guy has 8-9.
Well, it looked like he bet about 225. He got a flat call from ace-queen, and let's see how much he's betting now.
It's like a stack of yellow, but there must be some other chips in there. I can't believe he's only betting 100. Well, actually, 100 might be a great bet.
150 into about an $800 pot, $900
That could be a great
pot.
bet because it looks like a weak lead. He might get a raise. The guy might decide to raise him with some hands.
Nope, he's going to call.
Just call? That's all right.
So he's going to take down about $900,000 pot right here.
That might have been another spot for a check raise, too.
Look at that. 10s full of 7s. What a great hand.
Yeah. Lots of possibilities there. I mean, it depends upon the opponent. I don't know the guy, the 9 seed.
Right.
He's a new player.
Right.
He wasn't in the game when I was there. And I don't remember ever seeing him in the past, at least from this perspective on top of his head.
Different era.
Some guys, that weak lead is a great bet because they're going to smell weakness when they see a weak lead, and they're going to re-raise the pot on you. And that's going to get the doctor all in, and he's going to win. He's going to double up on the hand. Other times, it's just going to get a call or a fold even. They're going to sense strength when you do a weak lead. So there's lots of possibilities, and that's why you need to know your opponent, know what this guy's tendencies are. If you've played with the guy a lot and he likes to raise a weak lead, whether he's got a hand or not, then of course you do it when you got the nuts.
I think I agree with you there. A flat call there on the flop with the 10s. The re-raise knocked ace-8 out from behind as well. And you get if you had flat called the flop, then possibly gone for a check raise on the turn, you're going to get ace-queen to lead and maybe ace-8. I don't know what he's going to do. He might flat call, maybe thinking that he's going to try to give a crying call all the way. Then you come over the top of him with the check raise on the turn.
Yeah, I mean, one of the best reasons to flat call the flop from the doctor's position would be if he senses strength from the 9 seat.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he senses strength and he just flat calls, it looks a lot like a draw.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can get that guy to re-raise. And at that point, a re-raise is going to be a pretty big bet, and the doctor's going to be able to get all his money in the pot. But it depends. I mean, if you sense weakness from that guy, then he's not going to re-raise you. And you might decide, you know what, in case he only has like a gut shot straight draw, I'm just going to go ahead and raise myself. I'm not going to give him a free card, so to speak, when he has outs on me. I mean, I remember playing a hand the first time I was in the World Series main event in 2002 against one of the good Costa Rican players, Jose Rosenkrantz. And I think it was Jose. It might have been a different Costa Rican player. But he had built the stack up pretty good. He was like 35,000 chips. It was like 20 or 30 minutes left in the day one. So he's got a nice stack of chips. He's the biggest at our table. And he basically announced to the table, he said to us, he's like, man, I got a good stack of chips. He goes, if I enter a pot, you guys better get out of my way because I'm not playing anything but the nuts. Because I'm going to go to bed happy. I'm not going to lose a big pot and go to bed unhappy. So he comes in a few minutes later with a raise, and I know he's got a real hand. And I had ace-queen suited, and I thought, if he has ace-king, he's going to throw it away. If he has like pocket 10s, pocket jacks, he's going to throw them away. So I'm going to re-raise him now. And as long as he doesn't re-raise me, I know I'm in great shape. And I re-raised, or I should say I raised him. Yeah, I guess I re-raised. He brought it in for 3 times the big blind. I made it 9 times the big blind, which was about 3,000 in chips. And everyone else folded, and it gets back around to him, and he flat called me. And as soon as he did that, I knew exactly what he had.
Give me, bully.
You got your guess ready?
Yeah.
What did he have?
He had pocket kings.
Pocket kings.
And there was no other hand he could have when he flat called me.
Yeah.
Because with pocket aces, I started that hand with about 11,000 chips.
Uh-huh.
And I just put in 3,000. And I've got 8,000 left. If he had pocket aces, he would have just immediately put me all in, and he would have just prayed that he didn't, have that 15% of the time his aces were going to get cracked.
Right.
And if he had queens or below, ace king, he was going to throw all those away, I'm sure of it. But with kings, it was like he didn't want to re-raise me. He wanted to see the flop, make sure an ace doesn't flop. And it was too good a hand for him to fold.
Right.
So I think he didn't want to re-raise because he didn't want to face, losing a big pot with what might not have been the best hand.
Right.
But it was just too big for him to fold. So he called, and then an ace flopped, and he checked. And at that point, I went from 99% to 100% sure that he had pocket kings.
Uh-huh.
And, you might have said, hey, maybe it's time to trap the guy. Maybe if you check, he'll bluff into you on the turn or something. But I was just like, he's not going to bluff. He's got pocket kings. There's an ace on the board. He is done. Unless he gets lucky and catches a king, he is not putting a penny in the pot. So I bet like $1,500 into this $6,000 pot, just knowing that, he's going to throw it away. But I didn't want to give him a free card to get your king.
Right.
And he threw his hand away face up, and he says, doesn't that always happen when you have aces? No, when you have kings. And yes, he had the worst hand on the flop, but and in many cases I might have tried to induce a bluff. If I was that sure the guy had pocket kings, then obviously any card but a king hits, and he bets. I know I know exactly how to play the hand.
Right.
And I'm not losing anything. But it was an interesting hand, though. Just the fact that if he had not made his announcement to us,
right,
that I'm not going to lose any big pots. I'm only going to play the nuts because I'm going to go to bed happy. I wouldn't have been able to take those 3,000 chips off of him.
So even if it's like these people make these side comments and maybe they're trying to make a joke, but you're always kind of paying attention. You can pick up some tells from those types of types of
they
comments.
could be fooling you.
Right.
You got to be careful with the really top-notch tricky players like the Daniel Negreanu's and the Lane Flacks and stuff. Because they'll make all that tabletop commentary either during a hand or between hands. They will be saying things to set you up. They will be monitoring your reaction to their comments, and they will be taking advantage of you if you're not careful. So you do have to watch out that you don't read too much into some of their comments, because it'll haunt you, because they're such great players. But when someone who's just a good player, even a very good player, says some of those things, then yes, if you're paying attention, you can take advantage of them.
Who do you think obviously Negreanu won?
110.
He ended up winning the overall player of the year in card player, right, for last year.
Correct.
Who do you think the best player is, or best tournament player? I know, and then we can go to a cash game player. Do you think it's Negreanu? Do you think it's a John Juanda, or do you think it's streaky and it just depends on the way that people's playing in that certain year?
Well, it's hard to judge. I've got a ton of respect for Daniel's game, for John Juanda's game. There's lots of other guys that are great players, and I think it is hard to judge. It really is more a question of just when you observe them, who do you have more respect for? Or who are you more worried about having at your table? I'll pick Daniel right now over anyone else. That doesn't mean he's the greatest tournament player alive, but he's certainly got to be near the top at a minimum. And because of the streaky nature of poker in general, it's not that hard for someone to really be the best and not have any great results for a year or two or three.
Well, the other thing, too, is when you continue to win, you obviously you develop a persona about yourself that, people respect you more. You might be able to make more types of moves. After you won the 2004 World Series, do you find that you can manipulate a table a little bit better, or do you find that people are after you because they want to beat the world champion?
Well, unfortunately, it goes both ways. So the tricky part for me is figuring out which camp each player falls into.
Uh-huh.
Some guys will have the attitude of, this guy's the world champ, he's going to outplay me, so I'm just not going to do anything risky at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to wait for good starting hands, and I'm going to play them very straightforward. Other players are just desperate to get all their money in a pot with me because they either want a story about how, I got busted out of the game, but it took the world champ to do it, or they want to win the big pot from me so that they can, tell their friends how they beat me in the pot or knocked me out of a tournament.
I even saw a guy go in with an inferior starting hand earlier about the first 10 minutes of the broadcast, and he said to you, I'm only in this hand because I'm against you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It happens to me all the time. One of the guys who was playing to my left, he was one seat to my left, I think, when the broadcast started. His chips in the rack. Steve, said his name was. And before we were in the broadcast, I think, I doubled him up.
Uh-huh.
And so then he was like, when he heard that I had the fossils for sale, he's like, oh, I got to buy one of those. So I'd signed it, to Steve, one of the nicest guys I've ever doubled up or something. And he was, so he was thrilled with that.
Well, I saw that.
So
Rick,
I got $40 back.
I was trying to figure out what was going on there because I saw that Rick had one too. I didn't know that you actually will sell those to people at the table. The fossils, if you have extra ones, Well,
what I used to do, years ago when I started doing this more seriously in San Diego, my wife was worried about poker. And she was afraid I was going to turn into a degenerate gambler or something and lose all our money. So we made a deal that I would have a $1,000 bankroll. So I would take $1,000, set it aside, keep it completely independent of my job, savings, all that. And that was poker. And I lost it all. I had promised I would never play poker again. And that was that. So it's $1,000 until I'm broke or else.
Okay.
And so she took me to this rock show one time because that's what when she was a kid, that's what her family did as kind of a family hobby, was they went out rock hounding, searching for rock and mineral samples and stuff. And I picked up one of those black fossils to use as a card protector, and everyone liked it. The poker room, they thought it was interesting.
It's a great card protector too, right?
It's a great card. Yeah. So I bought it to use as a card protector. I saw this, I'm like, this is the perfect size. It's big, it's heavy. It's got a point on it. I can threaten a dealer. And I tell him, if you muck my hand, I know it's not an accident. A nice flop for
trips for 7,
but I don't think he's going to get much action here. Hardly anyone has an out on him, especially now that the pocket pair folded.
Mike's still in there with queen.
Was it deuces that just folded, or was it a different small pair?
Yeah, it was deuces that just folded.
It was deuces that just folded.
Now he's going to be...
They're crying.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than making an intelligent laydown and then finding out you were going to get lucky.
Well, I think that is an intelligent laydown, drawing to 2 out to try to catch a 2-outer on the turn.
Exactly.
Just sometimes those things happen,
Now, I'll do that if the money's deep, and that's one of the reasons I like playing this game with lots of money. Mm-hmm. We get in $30-$40 before the flop, and now you're betting 100 into me on the turn, and you and I both have 5,000 or more. I can take that card off for $100.
And look at this. Mike called on the turn for some reason with his queen 10, and he's going to bet into Dr. BB on the river.
Well, he must have called on the turn with the intention of setting up a bluff.
Yeah.
In other words, it's not going to look like a bluff if I just flat call on the turn. It's going to look like I've got a 9 and I'm trapping you. Unfortunately, he tried a good move into a good hand.
Yeah. We see another example of what we were talking about at the end there. Dr. BB just flat called Mike's bet on the river, possibly thinking that, again, if he was going to raise it up, he's only going to get called by a hand that's going to beat him, right?
Exactly.
Maybe a 9 with a better kicker or some full house or something he's slow playing. Yeah.
He feels like, either I've got the best hand because Mike's bluffing or Mike's got me beat. He has pocket 5s and he flopped a full house.
Right.
Whatever. So Mike convinced him that he had a big hand, but he didn't convince him so much that he's going to throw away 3 9s. Mm-hmm. So I'll just flat call you and hope you don't have ace 9 or pocket 5.
The funny thing is Mike could have been representing having pocket 2s there and catching on the turn, although we know that the other player had not that type of hand. And he would have played it the same way probably, right? Try to go for a check raise on the turn or check call and then try to throw in a bet on the river.
And I tell you what, when that's the nice thing. When I said I might take off a card for $100 against you with that under pair like that or the pocket pair that I know is no good right now, it'll just be because I don't expect you to get away from your hand.
Right.
If I catch. The only danger of that move, of paying that $100, is that what if you have pocket 5s and you have 5s full?
Right.
Well, now I'm not going to get rid of you, and I'm going to lose.
And if we both have 20 grand in front of each other, well, I can take that risk to call $100 or $200 because if I hit my card, I could have your whole stack, right?
Yeah, and it's actually a much better risk to take if you have the overpair to the board. When the flop comes instead of 9-9-5, when it comes 5-5-9 and you've got pocket 10s, because now when you catch your 2-outer, it's going to be good pretty much. Unless you're against quads, it's good. Whereas here, you catch a 2, and if you are against pocket 5s, you were drawn to the runner quads as your only out. But with the fossils again...
you were going on about that.
So I bought the one fossil, and everyone liked it. So I went back to the rock show, and I bought more. And I immediately sold them at a markup.
Oh, okay.
When I was in the poker room. So then I went back again, and I bought a variety of fossils. And then it used to be that whenever I played poker, I had 3, 4, 5 different fossils sitting out on the table. And when people would ask me about them, I would say, well, these are good card protectors, and this is what they are. It's this kind of fossil, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, you could buy that for $15 or $50 or $100 or whatever the price might have been. And
Not telling them the real value of a fossil.
The real value is whatever I can get.
Exactly, whatever you can get for it, right?
I mean, in some cases, I sold a bunch of fossils to a guy one time in Hollywood Park, and he was talking about how his kid always wants to go to the nature store or something, and that every time they go, his kid gets him to buy him something. So he was talking about, hey, you're saving me a lot of money because what I'm paying you for $20 costs $50 at the store.
Oh, okay.
So in other words, the store marked it up even more than I did.
Right.
So he bought like half a dozen. It was like every time I take him to the store and he asks for something, I'm going to tell him no, but I have something for you at home.
Yeah.
So he was, in fact, I ran into him a little while ago, a few months ago. And he was telling me how much, I did. I saved him all the money on the 6 fossils he bought.
So do you ever find that, sometimes, when you were selling these fossils, which I figure you've been doing for the last 5 or 10 years or so?
Yeah, like 8, 9 years.
8 years. Do you ever find people that have been using them as card protectors before you won the World Series? I mean, sometimes you run into people that have fossils that they bought from you 7, 8 years ago.
Especially now, they'll come up to me and they'll say, you remember when you sold this to me at the Commerce during that tournament in 1997? And
No, I can.
I still have it. I had to go dig it up. It was sitting in the back of my office somewhere.
And now you get to autograph them and sell them, right? That's great.
Great. Now I'm selling them on my. I mean, I actually just got a big order of a few hundred fossils, and I'll be selling them all on my website. So you can go get your own autographed fossil at fossilmanpoker.com.
That's your website, fossilmanpoker.com?
Fossilmanpoker.com.
And you sell
got
fossils.
A calendar of events, and I got news. Like I'll have trip reports and stuff, which I'm getting way behind on. And then there'll also be a store where you can buy your autographed fossils. Eventually I'll have some sunglasses for sale. I'm still trying to find a manufacturer. If there's anyone out there who owns a company that makes sunglasses, they can go to the website, get in contact with me, and we can talk about having their company make the glasses for me. Because the ones I have are kind of like what you're wearing. They're wireframe glasses. There's no room to put a logo on them.
Oh, okay.
So I need to get them manufactured in a style where it's like a thicker plastic ear stem or something where I can put a Fossilman logo.
And it's going to be that type of reflective type,
Yeah, it'll have the holographic.
Where we saw in the World Series from you, right?
Yeah, I'll be getting the same exact hologram in them, but I need to get them manufactured independently of the company that's making them in China right now.
A lot of people, when I go in to buy sunglasses, I tell them I'm a professional poker player. People that aren't familiar with poker think it's you don't want somebody to see into your eyes if you're bluffing, but it's actually, you don't want to see them. You want to be looking at them and have them not see you looking at them, right?
Yeah, that's I think more of a benefit than anything else. But not letting them look into your eyes does make a difference. I mean, they don't say the eyes are the window to the soul because it's literally true, but it is easier to read someone's expression if you can see their eyes and around their eyes. The muscles around your eyes show a lot of your expression. More so than people might imagine in some cases. And so that's a good way to hide some of that emotion that might show, that little subtle stuff.
I remember on ESPN when they were doing the World Series of Poker, we saw you so many times when you were going to see a flop and you'd made a big call or you'd raised and someone made a call of your raise, you plopped those glasses on. When you plop them on, are you looking right at the player usually, or is it more
usually,
to protect?
If we're playing a hand heads up, I'm usually staring at you the whole time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one of the dealers in the World Series actually came to me later and he said, he liked the fact that I always squared off on my opponent. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, because you always you wouldn't even just turn your head. He goes, you'd turn your whole body towards whatever opponent. I mean, if it was the guy sitting next to you, he's like, you'd turn sideways in your seat and have your whole body facing him, kind of like, let's get ready to rumble kind of demeanor. And I hadn't really realized I was doing it like that. But, he seemed to think that actually was, somewhat intimidating to some of the players. Maybe because I'm a big guy or whatever. It doesn't hurt to have kind of an evil stare down. And there's some guys, plenty of guys have a good stare down where they don't show anything. Some guys, though, when they're playing a hand with you and they're staring at you, I mean, they look like, if you fuck with me, I'm going to jump over the table and kill you.
Yeah.
Which I apologize. I just realized I shouldn't have said that.
It's okay. We're on the internet. We don't have FCC regulations.
But that seems to be the look on their face. If you mess with me, I'm just going to kill you.
Yeah.
And it's not because that's their attitude at all, but it's just something about the set of their face when they put that neutral expression on, it comes across as the gangster evil stare.
Right. But that's it's a great idea to market those glasses.
On the button. King Jack of Diamonds. Is it?
Yeah, king jack of diamonds.
That's a little bit, that's not a, play straight out of the book, so to speak. But Eddie's right, though. I mean, no one else has a hand that's going to give him any heat.
If I have a bunch of limpers, I like to bring that hand in for a little bit of a raise on the button there, too. And look at that. Flop top two pair. He's got 3 clubs on the board, though, so.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if seat 4 is going to, if Marshall's going to take one off with a straight draw, though, with 3 clubs. But that's the main concern that I don't think Mike unless Mike gets caught bluffing again and manages to spike a club that he doesn't realize is any good.
Right.
That's going to be the issue here. Is if Mike tries to bluff, just do a cold bluff, it'll turn out that he actually does have 9 outs.
Well, his bluffing hasn't worked all night.
Six of clubs isn't much of a club.
Now, you bring that hand in on the button with Jack King, you get that type of flop. That's obviously not a situation where you're going to slow play. You're going to lead right out. My concern, though, too, is if somebody comes over the top of me, what's the chances that they flop to flush? What do you think they have? Maybe the ace of clubs in their hands. They come over with a big semi-bluff. What am I going to do now?
Well, that's why it's poker. You got to make tough decisions frequently to do well in the game, and that's what you're at. I mean, you've raised on the button. People expect you to have a good hand. And Doctor here, the Dr. BB, is not playing lots of hands, and he's not playing garbage. So you don't expect him to have a garbage hand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, it's a high-risk, high-reward bluff, because if he knows that you know that he's not playing garbage, then, that means you're giving him credit for something decent, and you're still coming over the top.
Right.
I mean, it's implying that at a minimum you can beat ace-king on that board.
Right.
So, but on the other hand, anytime you have big cards on the board, Doctor could have been making a legitimate raise with pocket queens, pocket tens. Mm-hmm. And how can he call a raise? Even if you're bluffing with nothing, how can he call with any of those, what were very good starting hands? So, you've got an interesting dynamic going there that, in some senses, you might expect the guy to try to bluff you because it's the right scare cards to bluff out a tight player. And on the other hand, you're a tight player with a tight image and you're still willing to bet the flop into the field.
And if someone does check raise him over the top in that case, he's not drawing dead. He has outs to draw to a full house as well if he puts the guy on a smaller flush, right? Or even if he had just flopped, any flush.
It's probably more so. I mean, if you put the guy solidly on a flush, you got to lay down 2 pair because you don't have enough outs typically.
Right.
But if it's like, I think it's about 50-50 whether the guy has a flush or a bluff.
Or an ace of clubs. Maybe he's making a big semi-bluff, right?
Now it's like because of the dead money in the pot and because of other considerations, when I figure that half the time I'm a significant favorite and half the time I'm a big dog, but because of the dead money, it adds up to a call. So it can be a spot where you're going to call, and that is going to make the difference, the fact that you have 4 outs when you're behind.
Which is one of the interesting dynamics about no-limit cash games, which really have only been, been around in card rooms for the last, 1, 2, 3 years. Look at Pocket Cowboys in seat 6 here.
Wow. Bing, bing.
8-10. He's flopped open-ended straight draw,
I don't think he's going to lose Marshall. Marshall's going to call. Check call. Nothing wrong there. And that's a scare card for the Kings.
Yeah. Look at that. He's going to
Marshall's betting right out. So that's
right
a great
out.
scare card. I don't think it's going to work, but it's a valiant effort.
Maybe if he had done a check raise semi-bluff there, come big-time semi-bluff over the top, he might have lost him.
It would be interesting if I knew exactly how much that turn bet was. Because
looks like it was about $100, I think.
Because it could be one of those things where it's also what we call a stopper bet. I mean, let's say there's $300 in the pot.
And he's going to call. It was a $300 bet, and he's going to call.
Valiant effort by Marshall. I don't begrudge him that attempt at all. I mean, there's lots of hands he's going to get to lay down there. Ace, king, king, queen of hearts, stuff like that he's going to succeed against.
Pocket tens, obviously, something like that. Yeah.
I mean, if I have pocket tens, actually, the second jack actually makes me more likely to call.
Well, yeah, but it might be a bit of a scary flop, possibly. Maybe he's freeloading something on the flop. Obviously, because the second jack comes, it's just less likely that he's going to have top pair, right?
But there, I mean, he has a straight draw. He still has a straight draw on the turn, and he probably figures if it hits, it's going to be good. So now there's $300 pot. If he bets 100 right out when that jack pairs, he's going to freeze the overpair. They're going to have a hard time raising that $100 bet.
Right.
Even if they think, given the fact that the guy could be bluffing or that he could be trying to mistakenly value bet just like an ace-9 type hand, they're probably not going to fold. But by betting 100, you've kept them from betting 200 or 300.
Exactly.
So in other words, you've seen the river card at a price that you can afford to catch your straight.
And you've taken kind of control of that betting round because, like you said, if you check, he's going to bet, a large amount, $200-$300, where you might not have odds to call an open-ended straight, right, with that pot.
And given the size of that player's stack, you might have just bet all in on the turn. And now you cannot call because you don't have pot odds and there's 0 implied odds left. By betting 100 of the guy's $300 stack, you could be giving yourself the card for $100. Now, I mean, the bad news is the guy raises all in, you're going to be pot stuck to call, and you're going to put the 300 in that you would have check folded before. So it does have its drawbacks. The other nice thing about that bet, like you say, you're taking the lead. And the guy calls 100. If that river card, instead of being a brick, had been a heart, and put 3 hearts on the board, and you bet, and you still have the guts to bet into the guy, how's he going to call that bet, even with pocket kings?
Right.
It's going to be a really hard call. It's going to be more of a I've gotten stubborn and I'm making this call even though I know I shouldn't type call than it is actually a quality call.
And look at this. The guy in C2 is drawing with the ace of diamonds, and he's going to catch it here on the river. Pocket 4 is a bet into him on the turn. He's going to lay it down. Mo, of course. C2. Again, it's a little bit difficult, as you said before, with the glare to figure out exactly what the betting amounts are, which is quite important in the game of this stature.
It's also hard for us to keep track of the stack sizes as well.
Right.
I've heard stories of some places that are trying to create the chips with the little little magnetic sensors in them or whatever, where you can actually have a computer under the table that's reading the position of every chip, and it will tell you to an exact number the chip count of every single player in the tournament.
We might be possibly tinkering around with something where we can maybe see a different size of chip or a different shape of chip that makes it easier for us to figure out the betting size and the pot size.
Well, it's a good idea from the perspective of seeing what's going on, but I think the players are going to hate having square chips and triangular chips and hexagonal chips. And I think they're going to kill you if you try to do that to them. I think you might be better off with getting a different angle on your lighting and your camera, so you don't get that glare off of the chips and so forth. Either that, or you're going to have to make it more of a habit for the dealers to specifically call out every single bet.
Which is something that they're not used to do in normal play. Calling every.
Yeah, and you could send a floor man in there like every half hour and do like chip counts on every player.
Right.
So that they would get like an updated chip count on each of them. That might be helpful.
Yeah, we've only been doing this broadcast for about 3 or 4 weeks, and we've been, and I love the results.
Popular on the internet.
Yeah, I love the results.
They go on and on about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I come in and it's the show's over, and I see a thread with 500 posts, and I'm like, well, I can't even try to read through all this to see what's going on.
Because you're a big 2+2 poster too yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm there all the time. And I see these huge threads on 2+2, and I'm like, I just can't even try to keep up with it.
Right.
It'll be more like someone's going to have to take, I might have to go back and read all 500 this time just to see what they said about me.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure I got a lot of insults and a lot of compliments.
Look at this, pocket 8s for seat 2, ace-king for seat 9, pocket 2s in seat 1.
I love pocket 2s. I love it.
Those hidden sets, right? If you make that set, you
can
really
any
get
pair
paid
is
off.
great.
Yeah.
When the money's deep, any pair has got to see the flop.
Yeah.
Great players.
I mean, in a thing like this, I'll have someone who raises, re-raise. I'll still be in there.
Actually, I think, let's see here. One of these.
The
there we
deuces
go.
went away.
Yeah, the deuces went away.
Well, the 8s are still in the lead. They got one overcard to be concerned about. So Mo in seat 2. I don't think he's going to worry too much about the jack unless he gets a lot of heat.
Denny and I had a discussion last week about these middle pairs in No Limit Hold'em. Obviously, when you have 8s, 7s, or 9s, you're bound to have at least one overcard that flops. How do you go about playing it? I mean, it just depends on the situation. If you're going to lead out,
it's all a question of feel, really.
Yeah.
So here it looks like seat 9 bet, and Mo's going to raise him. So he's going to find out right now if my 8s are any good. Now, if seat 9 can re-raise, if he could have pulled off a re-raise there, Mo's going to have to lay his hand down. But he doesn't know where Mo's at, and he's just getting a little. Oh, what is it? They put in 500 each.
Yeah, it looks like about 300 each there, making the pot about 500. So the pot's at about 500 right now. Of course, Mo's still in the lead here, and he has position, right?
5, 6, 7. The 8s. Mo's not going to get away from it now. Well, he went all in. Okay.
It was check to him, and Mo goes all in.
Yeah, I mean, with the flat call of the raise on the flop and that card on the turn, I don't see how Mo's not going to give, try to get rid of the guy. He doesn't give him a jack because he didn't re-raise. And even if seat 9 has a jack, he might throw it away to that card.
Right.
I mean, that's a scary, scary card.
Of course, Mo's picked up an open-ended straight draw as well here now, too. 4 or 9 is going to give him a straight.
Exactly. If it turns out that this guy does have a jack, like a jack 10, jack 9, and won't lay it down, Mo's got outs.
Yeah.
Against jack 10, he can pick up any of 10 outs to win the pot.
So not only is this a bet that could be with the best hand, but if it's not the best hand, he's making a huge semi-bluff here, too. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you don't even know if you want the guy to call you or not. As it turns out, he'd like a call with 6 outs.
Right.
Hey, what's the rabbit cam give us?
Queen.
Brick. Everyone. Mo wins.
How come the rest of the world gets to know and we don't?
I'm impressed with your crew here. They're good at keeping track of all these little details.
Yeah. Got a couple professionals in here in the booth, but hopefully this thing will get bigger and bigger. And we stream on Thursdays a big limit hold'em game. I don't know if you ever want to come over and play if you're going to be still in town, or if you're going up to Bay 101 or something. But the 400-800 game that you show us on Thursday night.
I hate limit hold'em.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I really don't like limit hold'em at all. You'll never get me in a 400 hold'em game.
You like mixed games?
No, mixed game that includes hold'em, I got no problem with. The hold'em is usually my least favorite
part
game
of the mixed game.
In the combination.
Yeah.
I think tonight you guys are playing BOTH, both.
Yeah, 3-6 or 4-8 or something.
They were playing, I think it was the Badoogie, Omaha High-Low, Triple Draw, and Limit Hold'em. Yeah. Now that I'll play, and I won't mind the Hold'em too
Take
much.
a bathroom break during the Limit Hold'em section.
Well, I mean, if I'm going to walk away long enough that I'm going to miss a whole orbit, I'll do it when the Hold'em's
Right.
I mean, but the only game worse than Hold'em is combination we were playing at Commerce yesterday was BORTH with Raz, and I'm like, I don't need no Raz. Well, I got gut shot straight draw for Mike and seat 5, and a pair of 3s. 10 jacks got the gut shot straight draw to the nuts. Ace 9's got another gut shot straight draw.
Look at this, Mike in seat 5 is going to call with his pair of 5s.
Wow, that's a good call, I think. If he's doing it because he puts a read on the guy, and boom, that's going to be no good. He's going to. I think it's going to be a check, and the ace 9's going to get lucky.
Look at that. We had a jack 10 that folded, didn't we? Mo folded his jack 10, and he catches a 9 on the river to make his nut hand. Look at that. See?
That's right. Mo's going down. Oh.
That's 4, no good, Mike.
5, no good. Ace 9 is good.
9.
Mike's lost several thousands of dollars here, and like you said, he kind of made a mental mistake when he went to check raise that hand with when the guy had the flush there.
Mike's a very tricky player, and when he's playing his best, I played with him a couple times. When he's playing his best game, he's going to be one of the types of guys that can kind of run over the table.
Yeah.
But I think he's a bit on tilt now, so he's making some emotional decisions rather than just making decisions purely on the cards and the opponent, what they're going to do. I think he's doing some more hoping than he is cold calculation.
Of course,
we're all guilty of on occasion.
Mo is whining right now. Mo is whining that he caught his nuts straight on the river.
Sorry to the audience. I had a big sneeze there. I tried to cover the mic so you didn't hear it. But
don't worry, they're always hearing Denny taking drinks of soda and stuff in the microphone, too.
Well, I do that, too. But unfortunately, I'm always sniffing because I got allergies.
Pocket jacks, which always can be a tricky hand to play, right, Greg? If you take some heat.
I tell you, in some ways, I'd rather have pocket 6s in a game like this if the money's deep, because you're going to play it right after the flop most of the time.
You're going to hit a release, right? Usually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're going to make correct decisions after the flop.
And if you have a bunch of undercards that come in with the jacks, it can get tricky, can't it, when there's a bunch of draws out there?
Well, exactly. Even when they get no overcard, they're almost guaranteed to be against some straights or some straight draws. Look at your 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, 6, Jack, Jack. I mean, everyone's got a reasonable hand. We got 6 very reasonable hands for no limit hold'em.
Well, and if I'm sitting here with jacks, in this position, and I have 5 or 6 people in, I'm treating it almost like a pair of 6s, where if I don't hit my set, I mean, even if a bunch of undercards come, I'm still probably not going to have the best hand 6 ways, right?
Well, that's certainly the safest way to play the hand.
Like right here, for example.
Bingo!
Right? Yeah.
See, I told you pocket 6s were better than pocket jacks.
And look at this, 5-6 flops 2 pair.
The 7-8.
7-8's got a
7-8's got the straight.
9-10's got a gut shot straight draw.
If this pot isn't big, we're going to have a bunch of wusses in this game.
Oh yeah, no, 9-10 doesn't have a gut shot.
No, 9-10 doesn't have a gut shot, but the 7-8's open.
Yeah.
The 5-6 got the top 2 pair. With the 2 hearts, all these guys might play their hand pretty fast. The 5-6 and the pocket 6s might be playing their hand pretty fast. I wouldn't be shocked here if we get seat 6 and seat 1 all in right now.
Look at this. Seat 7 had bet 50, raised to 350 with 5-6, and all in from seat 6 with the set of 6s.
Yeah,
and they're going to get a call.
They got rid of all the draws. Yeah. This is perfect for the pocket 6s.
Yeah.
He got rid of the people that could draw out on him. 7-8 just got home. And if anyone had it, the hearts got there.
Wow.
So 7-8 is now whining. Who had 7-8? Was it Mo? Yep, Mo had it. Mo's whining.
Mo has
again.
released both of his nut straights, man.
Mo is whining.
Again, of course, there's no way that he can call that $350
it's like,
raise.
Mo, we could hear you through the wall if it weren't for the microphone.
Look at him. But of course, it's a good laydown, though, right? You can't call $350 on a gut shot. I guess.
No. When you've got the bet and the check raise and all that, and you know you're not going to have the implied odds anymore, then you're right. You can't call.
Right.
I mean, actually, if he could call, it's only because he thinks both guys are going to go all in with him. Now he's getting 2-1 on his money, and that's a fair price. It's not a good price, but it's a fair price. Even then, he's making either a small mistake or it's only slightly correct to call. And with the hearts out there, though, he could be against a better made hand and a flush draw. Now he's got 6 outs with redraws. He could make his straight on the turn and then have a heart or the board pairs on the river. He loses anyways.
Now, the order of action, of course, of that hand was Jacks had led, and then the 5-6, the top 2 pair, raised. And then the set of 6s goes over the top all in. And, of course, we didn't know exactly how deep the chip stacks were. But if you've got 5-6 there, and you've got 2 hearts, and someone comes over the top of you all in, and it's about $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 to call, are you going to get off of that hand? Do you think you're beat?
Not too often.
Not too
the
often,
only hand that he's going to think is beating him right now is 3-4 for a flop straight. And, and since the guy didn't have a really, really deep stack, I don't think he would have been incorrect to get away from the hand.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things where if he correctly gets away from the hand, he's either psychic or the greatest poker player ever.
Right.
Now, if the money's super, super deep, it's a little bit different. So we got some action here. We got a gut shot straight draw and a flush draw. I mean, I don't know about you, but unlike Mo, I don't mind putting in money with a gut shot straight draw if the price is reasonable. Actually, Mo played correctly. I mean, his price wasn't reasonable.
Right.
Both times he made the correct decision. He was just unfortunate to get tortured by his card coming.
Of course, in a gut shot straight draw, you're looking at 4 outs, so maybe you got a 1 in 11
Let's go back
chance.
to Mo eating. That's always fun to watch someone. He didn't look like he was too neat with his food there. We could watch him spill on himself or something. I mean, actually, it's kind of funny. One of the hands I found most interesting in the 2003 World Series is when they were three-handed, I think, and Dan Harrington tried to make a move with it was a pretty weak hand, like a 3-6 or something like that at the final table.
Actually, I was watching your commentary that they play on ESPN, and you had said that hand, you don't even remember that hand.
No, that's a hand at my table where he's 6 deuce and he raised and we all throw it away.
Yeah.
But 2003, when Chris Moneymaker won, they're three-handed. Chris Moneymaker, Sammy Farha, and Dan Harrington. Now, Dan Harrington raised before the flop on the button with something like 6-4, 6-3, something like that. He got called by both guys. He flopped a gut shot straight draw. And he got bet off the hand. And then it was like boom, the gut shot hit on the turn, and Sammy and Chris played a pretty big pot. And I was really amazed that the commentators didn't say a thing about how if Dan had made a bad call of the check raise on the flop, he would have gotten lucky and doubled up.
Oh, he would have had mounds and mounds of chips, right? But of course, we had seen when you bring Dan Harrington up, we had seen him have this super. He had, sometimes he plays a super tight game, develops a super tight image, and then, we have the luxury of seeing hole cards, and sometimes when he feels that players are weak, he'll come over the top with almost anything pre-flop, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's why Dan is a champion. If he was only weak tight, you wouldn't be a World Series champion.
Right.
But he plays, what looks like weak tight most of the time. But when he knows the situation is right and his sense of who the opponents are is right, then he's capable of making a move with anything because he knows that they're going to fold so often that I'm correct to make this play with a crappy hand. I mean, that was the reason he went broke against David Williams in the 2004 World Series. He had a double gut shot, double belly buster straight draw on the turn when he pushed all in, but unfortunately for him, the 3 that gave him the double gut shot also gave David Williams 2 pair.
Right.
And what I told Dan later, I was chatting with him, and I said, wow, so many people criticized you for that hand. They thought like you just went on tilt and you lost control of yourself. And he said, I played with David a lot for the last 3 days. And when I pushed all in on the turn, I knew for a fact if he didn't have 2 pair or better, he was never going to call. And I trust that Dan's read is correct. We'll never know because David had 2 pair and threw it away. I mean, he had 2 pair and called.
Right.
If he had 2 pair and folded, we would know it was even tighter than Dan thought. And if he'd had 1 pair and folded, we still wouldn't know if Dan was right that David would have called with 2 pair. But I don't think it was a terrible play by Dan at all, even though a lot of people really gave him a lot of grief about it. I don't know if they did it to his face, but they felt like, you played a great tournament for a week, and then on one hand you lost control, and that's what cost you the tournament.
One of the other interesting things when you were heads up with Dave at the end in 2004 was that your stats relative to the size of the blinds, I mean, you guys only played a few hands at the end there, right?
Yes.
You could have gone on for hours and hours and hours.
I've had several reporters who came up to me and they said they missed the end.
Right, yeah.
Because as soon as we got heads up, they thought, these guys are going to be playing for an hour or two, and they took off to get dinner and stuff. And they went off to eat, smoke a cigarette, go to the bathroom, stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they hear all this noise and they're like, I missed it. And they're running back into the room from other parts of the casino to check the end. And, David, as the short stack with 30% of the chips, had something like 70 to 75 times the big blind.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, there are, things like, you'll see heads-up tournaments where you don't start with 70 times the big blind. I mean, actually, when you play on Poker Stars, you get 1,500 chips and the blinds are 10-20. So for the first 10 minutes, you have 75 times the big blind. And here we are at the end of a week-long tournament. I was talking with Bob, the guy who just came in second in the LA Poker Classic main event. And he was saying how it was, wasn't much fun heads up because it was just all in or fold.
Right.
And this is another $10,000 buy-in event, with hundreds of players that took 5 days. And I said to him, it sounds to me like they didn't give you enough play at the final table because they shouldn't have set it up. It wasn't like it was a slow final table. They got the heads up pretty quick.
But it was just that the chip size was so relative to the blinds that there really was only one move. Whereas you guys really could have finessed and played each other almost like a heads up match for a few hours, right?
Yeah. If we went back to the beginning, David and I, if you rolled back time and we were heads up, and then it was changed but still random.
Yeah.
If it had gone on for 4 or 5 hours or more, I wouldn't have been shocked. After the fact, it wouldn't have surprised me that it took that long.
How confident were you putting all your chips in with pocket eights there at the end?
Well, when he called me really fast on the turn, I was starting to think I was beat by a straight. I thought he had flopped a wheel. 2, 4, 5, and now a 2 comes. And he's calling me that quick, and I'm thinking, wow, he has ace-3, but he's starting to worry about a full house, so he's just going to call.
Yeah.
75.
But then when the 2 came on the river and I made a full house, I'm thinking, there's pocket 4s, pocket 5s, or an overpair are the only hands that beat me. And I really didn't think he had an overpair at all, because when I check raised the flop, if he had 9s or better, I'm pretty sure he would have re-raised at that point, and I would have found out that he had a bigger pocket pair. So I didn't give him credit for 9s or better at all. And the only question was, did he flop a set with 4s or 5s, or a set of 2s, and he has quads now. When the deuce came on the river, I just thought, if I made a mistake in the hand, it was betting the river. It was one of those spots where it's like, how often am I going to get called by a worse hand?
Right, we were talking about that, yeah.
And in hindsight, I might have been better off just checking the river. Of course, in hindsight, he would have checked behind me, I would have won, and then who knows what happens from there.
So,
I would have liked my chances with, 85, 90% of the chips, but...
Now look at this hand right here as we were... he's going to get pocket kings to lay down here.
Oh, yeah.
Ace-10.
That's an easy lay down for pocket kings at this point. You got the 3-card straight on the board. if someone had 7-8, they just beat you. I mean, in this case, the 4 was a great card for the pocket kings because it guaranteed he could get away from his hand without any more loss.
Right. Of course, we're here live at the bike, and we stream broadcast live cash games every Wednesday through Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. Pacific time. We're here with 2004 World Series of Poker champion Greg Raymer. We got about 25 minutes left in the broadcast, and Greg played with us for about 2 hours at this table before coming in and helping us commentate. Won quite a bit of money, actually, didn't you?
I won a little over $1,000.
A little over $1,000?
So for this size game, that's pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
When I was coming over here, one of the hosts grabbed me because he's like, "Oh, you're ready for your seat in the 300-600 game, aren't you?" I'm like, no, I'm going to do the commentary. And I was like, maybe I'll see you after I'm done. And the players at the game were like, "Oh, you can just leave your chips here, put a box over them. You can
right,
come
that's
back.
what the other guys
You can come
do.
back when you're done commenting."
Yeah.
And I said, "No, I'll probably play 300-600."
Is that usually the limit of cash games that you're playing at right now?
It depends where I'm at. I mean, if I'm at home at Foxwoods, we don't get games that big.
Right.
When I'm out here on the road in Vegas, Commerce, places like this, here we go, seat 4.
Pocket Rockets.
Marshall has aces. Oh, I guess that's it, although he won before the flop. Could be better, could be worse.
I can't get anybody to call.
I can't get anyone to call. Don't worry, Marshall, you've been running bad. It might be good that they didn't call.
Yeah. Of course, we were just talking about with the viewing audience, your aces against 9-8 suited heads up. Aces is about, a 90 to 91% favorite there with an overpair? 89?
No. Against small suited connectors like that, those are actually the best hands you can have against pocket aces, and they will win. I forget exactly, something like 16-18% of the time.
Oh, okay, so overdid a little bit.
A little under 20% of the time. But
win. He was still at least an 80-20 favorite, right?
Oh, yeah, he was at least a 4-1 favorite there. And the thing is, though, it doesn't matter that he's a 4-1 favorite if they were all in. There's still a lot of play left. And so the question is, how often is he going to get a hand like 8-9 suited to put in more money after the flop when he has a better hand than them on the flop? Like the hand I played, was it on the telecast where I had the flush and the straight? I flopped a pair and a flush draw.
Right, you had flopped a pair and a flush draw.
So I had 8-9 of diamonds against
aces. He flopped the three
flopped
aces.
3 aces.
Yeah.
Was that? I forgot if that was before or after we started the broadcast.
That was during the broadcast.
I mean, that's about the only way the aces is really going to get all his money in after the flop as a favorite, is when the flop really hits both players hard. And we can see what happened there. I beat the guy 2 out of 3 times when we ran it 3 times.
Yeah, that was unbelievable, because the funny thing about the first time that you ran it was, I think that it was either the first or the second time that 2 diamonds came.
First time I caught 2 diamonds. I caught the first diamond.
Yeah.
When the second diamond came, I thought,
and then you're thinking,
I was like, bad. That means I'm less likely to hit.
And then you catch another diamond. There were 3 running diamonds. That was unbelievable.
It was actually a bad catch, though. The second one was a bad catch in a way, because it cut down my chances of winning the other 2 matchups.
Actually, it's kind of funny because we do this big game, a few times a week. What do you think about the rule about running cards more than once, twice, or 3 times? If that
I
happen,
like it.
You like that rule?
Yeah. I mean, it's a voluntary thing. The players don't have to do it. What used to be traditional in these big games was not that the players would run it 2, 3, 4 times, but that they would negotiate a settlement.
Right, and I think that's what they were trying to get away from by putting that rule in.
Exactly, because it used to be that you'd have these big arguments, especially in Pot Limit Omaha, where it can be really complicated to figure out someone's true equity. You'd have big arguments over how much money we should get. So it's like, okay, you and I want to make a deal, and you say that you deserve 2/3 of the pot, and I say you should only get 60%. And we're sitting there arguing over it, and everyone else is like, would you guys just shut up, make a deal, and let's go to the next hand? So those negotiations would take up a lot of time. And there would actually be guys who made their living insuring those games.
Oh, really?
So instead of you and I making a deal, let's say you're the favorite. You flop top set against my flush draw. Now, the guy who offers insurance might make a deal to you that he'll see that there's $5,000 in the pot, at this point now that we're all in. And he'll say to you, like, okay, look, I'll guarantee you a $5,000 win, but you've got to pay me $1,800. And so in other words, you're going to get $3,200 out of this, no matter win or lose. And the only question is whether me, the guy offering you insurance, is going to lose or not.
Right.
Am I going to get that $1,800 and I just make an $1,800 profit, or am I going to pay you $5,000, or am I going to pay you $3,200 after the pot gets pushed to the other guy?
Well, in actually in that particular case, was it the guy with the 3 aces offered to run it for you, right? Run it 3 times.
Well, he
and would
said
you
you
have done
wanna run it
that with
3 times.
3 of a kind, knowing that you have redraws to a full house and stuff like that?
Well,
You know?
the nice thing about running it multiple times is it doesn't matter. The math is 100% identical.
Right.
So it doesn't matter whether we run it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, or whether we run it a million times by reshuffling the
Because you're
stub.
chopping the pot up in an equal amount, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, statistically, I mean, if all the money's in and you're a 2-to-1 favorite, you're a 2-to-1 favorite when we run it twice. You're a 2-to-1 favorite when we run it 3 times. You know, if we run it twice and then back everything up and do it again a million times, so it's 2 million events, you're going to win 2/3 of the money because you're a 2-to-1 favorite.
Right.
If we do it once a million times, you're going to win 2/3 of the money.
Right.
The fact that we've gotten a couple of the cards or one or 2 of the cards out of the deck for the second event doesn't matter.
Right.
So it doesn't matter whether you've got one out or whether you've got most of the deck working for you as an out. About the only nice thing is that if your opponent, like if it's set over set,
3 aces on board.
if you said to me, Greg, let's run it 5 times, well, the chances of me winning once and getting some of the money have gone up. But you'll know as a guaranteed fact that you'll win at least 80% of the pot.
Right.
Because I only have one out in the deck, which means I can't hit more than once out of the 5 times.
So it's just a question of if you want to...
But my chances of getting something have gone up enough that it's the same math.
Right.
I mean, if we say 4 cards on the board and there's 1 to come, 2 in your hand, 2 in my hand, there's 44 cards left. I'm only going to win 1 time in 44. If we run it 5 times, I'm going to win, 5 times in 44, so to speak.
Right.
But I'm only going to get 20% of the pot.
Right. Like 1 in 8 to reduce down, yeah.
So your chances of getting all the pot have dropped dramatically, but your chances of getting 80% have now become 100%.
Look at this. We got King in seat 6 and Ace King in seat 1 here.
Oh, okay. Well, that's going to be some fun.
And Mike's coming in with... it looks like his camera went out, unfortunately, so we can't see what he's got.
Well, that takes all the fun out of it.
And look at this. He's got Ace King, man.
What a terrible
flop.
Ace King has just been... He's just taking it in the you-know-where.
And he's got the Ace of Spades, too, backdoor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He is not going to... I don't think Ace King's going to get... Well, Mike got away. We'll never know what kind of fun we could have.
How would you play this if you're seat 6 here?
I would raise.
Yeah.
Because there's a flush draw. You don't like that. The straight draws galore, with the ace-jack, ace-10, jack-10, even 10-9 to some degree. So I would put in I would put in my normal-sized raise.
Looks like he's raising to about 400. Looks like the bet might have been 200, and the raise was calling the 200.
Ace King, actually, Ace King is thinking. A lot of people would just immediately shove all in right there. They wouldn't even think about it.
I think he is going to do that, though, Greg.
Oh, he doesn't like it, but he's going to go all in.
Yeah.
Set of 6s again?
He calls. Okay. Wow.
I'm surprised there aren't louder moans from the table.
3 Kings takes it down.
Good hand. That gentleman is...
Looks like if he's got a stack of whites there, that's a lot of money there, Greg.
Just like me, he just laid off the F-bomb.
Yeah.
How the bleep am I going to know that he's got that?
No, that's 2 stacks of 250 and 250 if those are stacks of stacks of 10s or stacks of 15, maybe $700-800. Probably about a $1,500, $2,000 pot right there. Nice little hand to pick up. Boy, that's just bad luck. When you have Ace King, the other guy's got Kings, and that Case King comes on the flop, huh?
I took a terrible beat at this casino. Back before I won the World Series, I was in town for a conference in Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And I'd flown into L.A. a couple days early. I played a tournament. Someone, I forget if it was here or the Commerce, was having a tournament series. And then I was stopped here at this casino on my way driving out to Palm Springs the night before the conference. And we were playing pot limit Omaha high-low.
High-low?
High-low.
Okay.
And I had ace, deuce, 4.
Great starting hand, obviously.
Great starting hand. Double suited even.
Yep.
It was like the second best possible starting hand. And I ended up getting all the money in with a guy on the turn. So there's 1 card to come. We both have the nut low. He has ace, deuce, 4. And I have ace, deuce, 4. And I have both nut flush draws. And we both have the same low that can't get counterfeited. And there's... No, I'm sorry. He has ace, deuce, 5.
Okay.
He has ace, deuce, 5. There's a 5 on the board. The board is reading like 5, 3, 8, like a jack or something. And I have both nut flush draws.
So he doesn't even have a low yet, then, because his
No,
copy
he does.
card.
No, I mean, he does. He has, because he has ace, deuce, deuce, 5, and there's a 3, 5, 8.
3,
so
5,
he's
8,
using
okay.
his ace, deuce for
yeah.
low. I'm using my ace, deuce for low. Now, there's one ace left in the deck, and if it comes, I make a wheel and I scoop the whole pot.
Right.
There's one deuce left in the deck. If that comes, I make a wheel and I scoop the pot. There's 4 fours left in the deck. I mean, 3 fours left in the deck, and one of them will make me the nut flush. So if either of the other 2 fours comes, we'll both make a wheel and we'll split the pot. And there's a 5. There's 3 5s left in there. Well, 2 5. There's a 5 on the board, a 5 in his hand. One of those 5s will make me the nut flush. So even though he'll have 3 5s, I'll make a flush and I'll get the high, and we'll still chop the low.
So you get 3 quarters.
So he has 2 4s to go. He's got a quarter of the pot right now. 2 4s will give him half the pot. 1 5 will give him 3 quarters of the pot. Every other card in the deck will give me 3 quarters of the pot. And we've managed to put $7,000 each into the pot. I mean, this was like 5 blinds, and we've gotten $7,000 into the pot, plus, probably $500-600 that was strange money from other players. We turn our hands over on the turn when we're all in, and I say to him, "Do you want to run it twice?" And he looks at my hand. He's like, "What's the point? You're going to win." So of course, you know what card Spikes on the River was that 5.
5. Oh, that's
the only
brutal.
card in the deck that could crush me. And so instead of me getting 3 quarters, he got 3 quarters, which was a $7,000 swing. So it was like the most money I'd ever lost from like a 1 card, 1 outer ever.
That's a brutal beat there.
So for a while, I wasn't too thrilled with the bike. It wasn't the casino's fault, I mean, people are going to take bad beats no matter how good the club is and how good your games are. But man, that one hurt.
Looked like Seat 6 was leading all the way with his ace queen here, and Seat 9 had open-ended straight draw and just got busted out there on the river.
Well, it should be pretty bet and fold.
Yeah.
Seat 6 has built up his stack very well in this game.
It's funny, before the big no-limit cash games, no-limit hold'em cash games, obviously the biggest game around, and it actually still is, especially played Tunic, is pot limit, Omaha High. You see sometimes 5,100 blinds, right?
Sure.
Things like that. And I'm a big Omaha player, too, and I feel that at the pot limit stages, I like a pot limit Omaha High game more than a high-low game, because in pot limit, I think the low kind of kills the action a bit, whereas in a limit game, it adds action to it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree very much, because what happens is there's just so few hands that you can really be glad to stack off with.
Exactly, right.
In high-low.
Just for half the pot, if you...
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a great one-way hand, it's not good enough. Because either you're only going to get half, I mean, you basically need to have a nut hand one way and a good draw the other before you're willing to stack off.
Right.
Or, of course, a great hand in both directions.
Ooh, there's a good hand.
He bet on that $200.
Bingo! C4, Marshall.
Yeah, you picked a good time to bluff. He's only showed pocket kings twice.
And he's the big blind, too. That's why he's good.
And he had aces a few hands ago, Greg, like maybe 15, 20 minutes ago.
He didn't mind about no one playing him off.
Yeah.
No one could call. Yeah. Now he's gotten a raise, a call of the raise.
Who brought that hand in for a raise here?
Was it Dr. BB?
9-10 suited?
I raise.
And he's going to raise.
20 more.
Yeah, Dr. BB came in for a raise. Seat 9 called.
He's just going to do a mini raise. He's just going to raise it back up to $20, I think.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah, I think.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, and now he's going to get 4-way action against his aces, Greg. I don't really like that play.
I hate it.
Yeah.
And again,
he deserves to have these tracks.
Mystery Mike with the camera out.
Yeah, that's right. Mystery Mike.
Yeah, I mean, 9-10 just flopped open ender.
Yeah.
3-5 is, I love 3-5, but that's one of the reasons I love 3-5 is it's easy to play right after the flop, and his decision right now is very easy with a fold.
Looks like he led with 100.
We're going to get action from Mike, who we have no idea.
Right.
9-10 ain't going away now.
No. How can you bring that in for a mini raise like that, Greg? I don't like that.
I basically, unless it's going to basically put someone all in anyways, I hate mini raises.
Right.
I just don't like them.
Now he's going to lead. Now, we don't know. Mike could have a jack. Again, his camera's out, so.
Mike could have a jack.
And he's going to call.
Mike has a flush draw, I'm pretty sure,
so?
judging by his look on his face there. Because he didn't like that board pairing, because he thinks it might have killed him.
Well, let's see what happens if you're right about that, Greg.
Ooh, here comes the clubs.
I think he checked behind him, though.
Well, that's why I put him on the look on his face, but that's a pretty bad read when you're on the wrong side. You're on the other side of a camera instead of in the room. Mike is clearly frustrated, though, so that's why I put him on that.
Oh, no, aces is going to lead. I'm sorry. Aces leads with 300.
Mike must have had a straight draw. It must have been a straight draw. He showed it when he folded, though. We didn't catch it on the camera.
That's a dangerous way to play pocket aces, though, there, Greg.
Yeah, and the Mike's frustrated.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been taking some bad beats. He's been, caught bluffing. Lots of things aren't going his way. It's a good time to take a walk and cool yourself down right now.
Good rate.
Again, when you look at, obviously, we're taking a look at odds, aces is favored over, every hand individually, but as a collection, when you're up against 3 other hands, you're not necessarily going to be the favorite at the table to win the whole thing with aces.
You're always the favorite, but that doesn't mean you're more likely to win than lose.
More than a 50% chance, of winning. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You might not be more than 50% to win, but who cares?
Right.
I tell you what, if you're going to give me 4-1 on my money and I'm going to win 40% of the time, I can make a really good living off that bet all day long. So that's fine. That doesn't mean he should have. He should have done more than mini raise.
Right.
Make them pay a price where it's wrong for them to call, as opposed to giving them the right price to get lucky on you, especially when you're out of position and there's still a lot of money left. So I don't like if Marshall made a mini raise there, then I don't like it at all. Queen 7's ahead, but I don't know how much action they're going to give. Oh, it's Mo. He'll give some action.
You bet 100. He made it 300.
Yeah, Mo bet. C3 folded. No problem. I mean, it's always easier to make a move like that. King 7, they're that much less likely to have a king. If it had come King 7 deuce, you'd actually be more worried about them having a king.
And it just gets worse and worse.
And the other nice thing is, too, you're never going to make 2 pair there with his Queen 7. I mean, if he makes 2 pair with Queen 7, he's never going to put all his money in.
Right.
Because if anyone else is willing to put their money in, they've got a king.
Right.
Whereas when it comes King 7 deuce, you're a little more worried, because now when the queen comes, you're afraid that your queens and 7s is going to get beat by king, queen, or a set.
I'm going to call.
So you can make a mistake easier. So at least for me, I'm a lot happier when the pair is on the board. I'm less likely to put my money in bad late in the hand.
Yeah, right. I mean, if I'm going to take a stand, I'm going to take a stand.
The thing with that mini raise, too, this is a no-limit game, so it doesn't apply as much as... Sometimes when I see a lot of people in a pot in a limit game, I play a 20-40 or 40-80 game, and I might not necessarily raise out of the big blind with pocket aces, because I'm not going to drive anybody out of the pot, with 7-way action, maybe disguise my hand a bit, maybe go for a check raise on the flop. There's different schools of thinking in that way, but you're definitely not going to drive anybody out of the pot. You might just be giving somebody odds to chase things down if you build the pot up higher. We got aces again. Wow.
Marshall again.
Well, look at this. Marshall again on the button. Wow. 3 times in about 20 minutes.
No, one hand to him and one hand to him.
And he's going to get 4-way action here again?
Boy, he's hoping for an ace-7-7 flop.
Ace-king.
That's a great flop for him. Seat 9's not going to go away without putting some money in the pot.
Looks like he puts $50 in.
Mystery Mike says call. Looks like a $50 bet and a call. King 10's probably going to raise. Oh, he's going to look. Oh, now he's going to go all in.
Certainly looks like that might what he might do.
I don't know how deep his stack is, but I wouldn't be shocked if he goes all in if it's not too deep of a stack.
He only has about maybe $300 or $400 there.
Oh, I expect him to go all in there. Yeah, I expect him to go all in.
That's like about 150 in yellows.
No, he's just going to raise.
All in.
Oh, the aces are going to go all in, though.
Might quickly fold.
Yeah, you got me.
Look at that. He realized he was beat when he got called by his King 10.
Yeah.
A deuce was a cruel card for King 10. Now he's got 2 outs instead of 5.
It's aces like every other hand.
His aces again.
Aces every other hand. And I bet he's still stuck tonight.
At least Mike could get away with that one. We don't know what he called
earlier. Given what happened to him earlier today, I suspect he's still stuck.
Do you find that obviously everyone goes on tilt, but you find that sometimes if you've taken a bad beat, you like to get up, walk it off. You don't want something to affect your game mentally, or are you past that level? Right?
I would like to think I'm past that. I mean, there is some emotional impact, when you're losing hands and stuff. To be honest, to me, one really big bad beat doesn't bother me anywhere near as much as, a series of small beats. When I'm just getting beat repeatedly. kind of like either when you, like, especially since I like to play things like Omaha High-Low and stuff, you know, you start off with a good starting hand, you flop, you know, the nut low draw, nut flush draw, you know, you're putting lots of money in, and then you just miss.
Get 2 blank high cards.
It's hard to call it a bad beat because you never made your hand.
Right.
But when you just have those hands happen to you over and over and over again all night, that ends up bothering me more than if just like I lose a big pot to you because you spike a 2-outer on the river. To me, that's more emotionally draining. But, I mean, that was one of the reasons I won the World Series, is because that whole week I was not getting too pumped up when I won. You know, I mean, when you watch the broadcast, you'll see me, you know, doing a little fist pumping, you know, on a couple of key hands. But if you had missed that hand, and then you looked at me 2 or 3 minutes after the hand was over, you'd never know that I just won a big pot.
You were pretty emotionally in check the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, there would be a spike of happiness, but then it would be back to the baseline pretty quick. And when I lost a big pot, the spike down was almost inconsequential. I mean, the first big bad beat I took all week was a hand they showed against Martin Fazio. It was like the Wednesday, the 5th day of the tournament. And we got it all in before the flop, my pocket aces against his pocket 10s. And he flopped a 10, or he rivered a 10 on me to win a big pot. I mean, this was like a 2/3 of a million chip pot. You know, at the end of the hand, I have like $1 million in chips when I could have had like 1.6, 1.7 million. So it wasn't inconsequential at all. And all I did was kind of like nod my head a little bit, and I turned to the guy next to me, and I'm like, well, you know, wow, I can't complain. This is the first bad beat I've taken in the whole tournament, is what I said to him. I think that might have been actually Josh that I said that to. So it really, I was surprised. You know, at the time it was happening to me, I'm like, how come you're not upset? You just lost $2/3 of $1 million in equity. I was just like, how am I going to complain?
Right.
You know, 5 days, one bad beat.
And the hands don't stop just because you get a bad beat. You got to play the next hand. And,
Exactly. So, I mean, obviously we all want to stay completely in emotional control. And that, I mean, I'm usually pretty good at that. And that week I was amazingly good at it.
And it definitely contributed to your win, you think? Just keeping everything in check?
Because I never made emotional decisions, you know, the whole week. Now, again, I'm not a robot. I'm not perfect at it. I'm better than average, well above average, at maintaining an emotional detachment when I play poker. But there are times when I've, you know, kind of gone on tilt a bit. You know, when I've made a decision more because I'm frustrated than because it's the right thing to do. But I think I'm way ahead of, you know, the most even high-limit players in that respect.
I think a lot of people, you know, take a bad beat, you know, way too hard too when it comes on the river. I mean, if you're looking at a pair that's higher than another pair, right? You know, if you're going all in, the 5 cards you're about 82 to 18, about 4-1 favorite, pair over pair. And you know, if it doesn't hit at the flop and it doesn't hit on the turn, they're drawing to 2 outs on the river. But, you know, there's still always that possibility that's going to come on the river. So
there was a guy who was a regular back at Foxwoods, and we put all our money in when we were either at or almost at the final table in the Tuesday night no limit tournament. And I had queens, and he had ace-8. And all the money's in. Now, the flop comes like ace-8 and another card.
Yeah.
And then something on the turn, and then queen on the river. I win. He's out of the tournament. Now, he went around telling everyone, every time he would see me in the poker room for months, he would come up behind me, clap his hands on my shoulders, and then tell the table, you know, you're playing with the luckiest SOB in the world. You know, 2 outs on the river, he knocks me out of the tournament. And it's just like, how is that a bad beat?
Not telling anyone that he only had 1 over card on you, and you were going in 72 like 30.
You put all your money in as a 3-1 dog. It's not a bad beat when you lose.
Right. Yeah.
You know, if the queen had come on the flop, and then the 8 on the turn and the ace on the river, he wouldn't have whined about it being a bad beat.
Right.
But because he felt like now I'm a huge favorite, momentarily, in his mind it's a bad beat. He doesn't understand what bad beat means.
Right.
But it is amusing. I mean, that's poker players will, you know, every time we win it's because of how great we play, and every time we lose it's because how unlucky we are. I feel that way to some degree as well. The only reason I'm not over the top with the attitude is because I see everyone else thinking the same way when I know they're wrong as an outsider. And so I always have to double-check myself and say, Greg, you know, how much credit can you give yourself? You know, when you, I mean, if I play the big limit game here tonight and I win 20,000, you know, my equity, so to speak, you know, the amount of money I was going to win in the long run in that game might have been 1,000
right on
the night. Instead, I won 20. that means I got $19,000 lucky.
Well, in my opinion, I look at limit hold'em, at whatever level, compared to no limit hold'em cash games. Limit hold'em, the variance and just the swings I think are a lot more intense than a no limit hold'em, just from day to day. You know what I mean? Because if you're a really good player, your edge only might be 60, 65%. And even in a 20-40 game, man.
Look at this. Mo just caught the big flop. I don't know if he's going to get much action.
Queen 6.
Mo put some money in with Queen 6 offsuit and flopped top 2 pair. And, yep, Marshall has to lay down Jack 9. He's got runner outs at best. But Ace 6, so if a 6 comes, this is going to be a great pot for Mo.
I have Ace Queen.
He's saying he has Ace Queen.
Well, he doesn't want. He wants to say King Queen because then the A6 can call him. He thinks he has outs.
Well, if you put seat 8 on A6, you wouldn't want to say that you had Ace Queen then, right?
Yeah, I show you 6.
Chow chow.
No, there's no chow chow. Oh, no chow. My friend, I gotta show him too bad.
But in limit hold'em, like I was saying, you can't bet people off of hands necessarily, and they're going to chase you down with odds and flushes and straights, and it can be a brutal game of extreme swings and variance.
I mean, I actually think there's a lot more luck involved in limit hold'em than there is in no limit. I mean, you play a game like this every night, the best player in the game is not going to have as many bad downswings as the best player in a similar limit hold'em game.
Right. You can run really bad in a limit night and easily lose, 2-3 grand.
Those cards, when she deals those cards, it's so loud over the mic.
Yeah. Well, the mic is right there above the collection box.
Yeah, I saw the mic before, and I was just like, it reminds me of, that's one of the ways you're supposed to be able to tell if a dealer is dealing seconds. Is when they deal the top card, it won't make as much noise because you have top card sliding against the second card. But when they deal the second card, it's the second card sliding against the top and the third. It makes twice as much noise.
Oh, really?
Coming off when they pull it out of the deck.
And they're keeping then the Ace of Spades up on top there, right?
Well, I'm not accusing this dealer of anything, of course. I'm just saying that was. I mean, I've read a lot of books on cheating and gambling scams and stuff like that because I just want to know what's going on, what to look out for. I mean, I actually had a big issue when I was in Copenhagen at a tournament recently. I'm 99% sure that nothing wrong was happening, but I had a couple of dealers that kept holding the deck in what they call the mechanic's grip, which is where your index finger on your left hand goes on the front of the deck instead of on the side. And then in one case, a dealer really, I didn't like it just because it's not because I thought they were cheating, but just because it's like I don't want you to even make me feel uncomfortable, like I have to worry about it.
Right.
I mean, the dealer kept pulling the cards off in the normal fashion, even though they're in the mechanic's grip. And then when they dealt this river card that spiked someone a set to win the pot on an all-in hand, they dealt it overhand, where it's like they've
changed their style.
Instead of pulling the card to the side, they've pulled the card forward in a way that their hand and wrist and arm is covering up the deck. And that's just what someone would do if they were dealing seconds. Now, like I said, these dealers weren't very good because this is a casino that doesn't normally have poker. These were newly trained dealers, and the chances of these people being a mechanic were just about zero. So it wasn't I was not legitimately worried about anything. But as soon as I would see it, I would just say, oh, that's a problem. Because now I got to worry about it, and I got to pay attention to what these dealers are doing. And so then I'm talking to the floor man during a break and saying, tell your dealers not to hold the deck like that, and tell them not to pull the card forward, to pull it sideways so we can see the deck as the card comes off. Follow the right dealing procedure so that we don't have to worry about looking closely.
Mo's flopped a set right here, and Ace 10 had led on the flop with his top pair and the Ace kicker.
Well, that jack was a bad turn card for Mo because it's going to kill his action to some degree.
Well, now, of course, and Mo's checked, and he bet again.
But seat 9's been pretty, that's actually a different guy. New guy, not the guy in the suit anymore, so I can't talk about what he plays like.
Look at this, he's going to check raise.
Did he check raise or he bet out and got called, didn't he?
He check raised, I think, about a full bet. Look at this, he's made 5 solo jacks.
That's a great card for Mo because the guy's going to be less worried about Mo having a jack now that the second jack has hit the board.
How much is Mo going to bet here?
Well, the player doesn't have, in this 9th seat, doesn't have much left. It's hard for me to judge how much is in the pot compared to what's left in his stack.
He probably did a minimum buy, so he probably at least 400 from him in the pot, and he's got maybe 125 more.
Yeah, I mean, with how much is in the pot compared to what I look at the guy's stack, I would think Mo would bet them all in. Oh, no, the guy has a lot of purple chips, so it's not an all-in.
He's going to call. Mo's going to take down a nice pot.
Mo might have just made a great bet there. Mo might have made a great bet. He didn't bet all the guys' chips, and a lot of people are more comfortable calling off, 3/4 of their stack than all their stack.
Just as a mental thing?
Yeah, because it's like they don't want to be all in and busted.
Yeah.
But now that you've bet enough and they still have something left, they might be a lot more. Some people are a lot more likely to call.
Greg, I'm getting the word from my producer that this is going to be our last hand. I really want to thank you very, very much for stopping by. I hope you had a great time.
I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to taking my 1,000 out of this game and putting it into the 300, 600 table. And I've had fun doing this, and hopefully I'll be doing this more. I've actually got a couple of parties yet to be named who are talking to me about some commentary jobs, so you might see me on TV somewhere in the future.
Great.
Nothing else. Poker Stars has taken me out to London for the World Cup of Poker.
Oh, that's great.
And I'll be doing commentary for that show.
I hope you can spread the word about our streaming event. I think it's pretty exciting. It's
I don't
different.
think you guys need the word spread. And everyone I know, all the internet poker players are going crazy over this. It's like they say to themselves, I know I'm a true poker geek because I'm sitting at home all night watching it on the internet rather than watching TV or spending time with my family.
Oh, yes. You guys are staying over there? No.
What does the 9 seed have here? King 9? Yeah, I'm not surprised he has a mediocre hand.
Look at this. Ace-7 of diamonds flop top pair with nut flush draw.
25.
Yeah.
That's Mo.
And he's against... No, Mo has Ace-7, but Seed 8
Oh,
has...
excuse me. Seed 8's the one.
Mo's drawn dead here.
Yep.
He's drawn to a tie. He's going to tie frequently, but he can never win.
Right.
So if Mo gets it all in against the 8 seed, he's going to be in a world of hurt because he's going to get his money back 2/3 of the time, and he's going to lose it all the other third.
C4's got a gut shot straight draw. He's thinking about.
I don't think Marshall's going to call there with his 4-8.
Thank you.
Nope.
He said thank you. In other words, you raised me off the pot. I didn't want to make that bad call, and now you made it easy for me to make a good laydown.
Of course, the mystery man Mike, which we don't know his whole cards.
Mystery Mike, I better hope he doesn't have diamonds. Hopefully he's slow playing 4-5.
Oh,
all in.
There you go.
All in. I think Mo's going to lay down here.
Now, Seed 8 came over the top all in.
Mo's going to lay down. Mike had better hope he's not calling with a flush draw, because if it is, he's going to have 6 outs at best. Oh, no, he's done.
Looks like he turns over.
Boom! He shows the world. Ace-7.
I think Mike actually turned over 3-6. Bottom 2 pair there. He laid that down.
Oh, he
like.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be a surprising laydown.
I don't want to see the next card anymore. I'm scared.
Oh, there's my autograph on the hat here. Eric asked me to autograph his hat when I was leaving the game. So that's to Eric. We're both bad bluffers because both of us called each other's ridiculous bluff on the river in 2 separate pots. It's like I bluffed off 1,000 to him, and then he bluffed it right back to me the next hand or 2 hands later.
Well, that's going to do it. Again, I want to thank Greg Raymer for stopping by. My name is Bart Hanson. Join us again tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Pacific time for Live at the Bike. Good night, everyone.
Thanks for having me.
He's got more outs, but how many more cards does he have for him to miss?
It's here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the Bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.